Just want me to die.
Columbia University in New York to do more to address rising incidents of anti-Semitism as pro-Palestinian rallies are held on campuses around the country. The FBI is investigating threats posted online against Jewish students at Cornell University.
The threats found on a social site not connected to the Ithaca, New York college called for physical and potentially deadly violence and singled out 104 West, where the school's Center for Jewish Living is located. People on campus are being told to avoid that building for safety reasons. Cornell's president, Martha Pollack, in a statement said the threats are intolerable and the intent is to arrest and punish those responsible.
Fox's Cornell Scott, a Cornell professor, was recently forced to take a leave of absence after describing the Hamas attack on Israel as exhilarating. Israel expanding its ground operation in Gaza as Prime Minister Netanyahu rejects calls for a ceasefire.
In fighting Hamas and the Iranian axis of terror, Israel is fighting the enemies of civilization itself. Victory over these enemies begins with moral clarity.
He blames civilian casualties in Gaza on Hamas for using civilians as human shields. President Biden is calling tentative deals to end an auto workers strike historic. GM, the last of the big three to reach a deal, with the UAW using agreements with Ford and Stellantis as a template.
Securing for members a 25% pay raise over the 4 years of the contract, cost of living adjustments, a quicker pathway to the top pay tier, and the right to strike over future plant closures.
Fox Business's Grady Trimble, details of the GM deal not yet known, and all of this still needs union votes. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How the party started. Cloudy and 45 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. All clear on your radar. You've got a low of 26 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. 2 smartphone apps were used to promote the Halloween party where 10 people were shot over the weekend, says IMPD Deputy Chief Ken Dale Adams.
Snapchat was one and Cash App was the other. So those will be the two platforms that we're looking at to help us try to build a case potentially against the promoter and subleaser.
IMPD Chief Randall Taylor believes the number of shell casings found at the scene may be evidence that more than one person fired a gun. NDFOP President Rick Snyder wants a back-to-basics approach to criminal justice reform.
To fix this revolving door of criminal justice that we have convincingly proven has emboldened violent criminal offenders.
Snyder says he's done the math, claiming someone is killed in Indy every 39 hours. A man serving 20 years in the Edinburgh Correctional Facility escaped, and the Indiana Department of Correction is trying to find him. Marion Janes was last seen behind the wheel of a blue 2006 Dodge Dakota near Harding and Lambert Streets in the southwest side of Indianapolis. Anyone who knows where he might be is asked to call the cops. An IMPD bomb squad is at a home off Zionsville Road after finding a possible explosive device during a search warrant near Pike High School this afternoon. Police say that device turned out to not be an explosive one, and they're still investigating. One thing you could expect, no matter where you are in Indiana this Halloween, is the possibility of snow.
There's about a 30% chance for rain or snow showers during that time. Only minimal to light amounts of snow.
Jason Puma with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says there wouldn't be much accumulation, but maybe dress like you would for late December, with temperatures expected to be in the 30s. You're paying an average of $3.38 for a gallon of gas in Indiana today. That's according to GasBuddy.com. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but you hate the paint? Do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a 2-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating, better than paint.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
Here's a never-before offer, Indy. Act now before October 31st and get 25% off the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield.
It was done in 2001. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Remember, Indy, this is a limited-time offer, so act by Halloween to get 25% off the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield. Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05, here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, looking at northbound 6570 stop-and-go traffic. Michigan Street up to the north split. You continue north, and you will be slow to Meridian Penn. Inbound 65 stop-and-go traffic from 21st Street down to Meridian Penn. Traffic sponsored by Boost Infinite. Hey, thinking of getting the latest iPhone? Then check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just dial pound 250 on your phone and say Boost Infinite. You have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Skies gradually clear heading into the afternoon today, but it is going to be chilly. Temperatures staying in the lower 40s. Clear and cold tonight with lows into the 20s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it.
Another violent weekend in Indy. This time a lot of young people were involved late Saturday night. 10, count them, 10 were shot at a party on the northeast side of Indianapolis. 65th Street, not far from Binford and Hammer. It was a large gathering of teenagers, young adults in that area. Around midnight, shots fired, hitting all 10 victims, one of which was a poor teenage girl who later died. 5 of the other 9 victims who survived were under the age of 18. Think about that.
So this was basically just like a house party. I don't know if it was a Halloween-specific type of deal, but
it sounded like at the top of the hour they're talking about this. This party was promoted on a couple of different smartphone apps.
Right. And man, listen, I get it was a different time, but back when I was in college, if you wanted to throw a house party, because that happened quite a bit on college campuses. You know, there was no social media back then, but you tell your friends to tell their friends. You'd end up getting a bunch of people in your house that you didn't know who they were, but you didn't think something like that would go down. This is Simone Burris of the IMPD.
They should be able to have a space where they can enjoy a good time. Additionally, our children need support from their parents, community members, churches, and any organization in our community that focuses on youth. Our children need us, and this tonight is another example of why it's important for us to have conversations with our youth and just continue to educate them about gun violence, about settling disputes, and just how to have a good time and go home safely.
It's all about a lack of parenting in
Right.
general, I think.
And man, again, anytime you got a bunch of strange people in your house, it's not something that's going to end well. It's just not. My oldest son lives on his own now, and I told him, it's like, always go to a party at somebody else's house.
Dude.
Don't host it at your house. 2 things are going to happen. They're going to trash your house, or something worse is going to go down, man.
My first house in my 20s over there at 46th Street and Eagle Creek Parkway. You could see it right across from the elementary school, and lived on the corner there. And I mean, it was, me and my 2 roommates just party. It's a house I owned. We didn't rent. It was my house. And I mean, parties every weekend filled with people I didn't know.
Right. People you didn't invite, people you don't know.
No gunplay ever was involved. Imagine that. But I did get broken into a couple of times after that, and I've always wondered in the back of my mind, well, was a friend of a friend of a friend here? Pretty easy to tell when I'm not at home because I was on the radio back then.
Right. Scouting things out.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so I'm not, saying you can't go to a party, but these days, especially if 5 of the 9 victims were under the age of 18 who were shot? Holy crap. I wasn't going to those kinds of parties when I was that age.
Now, Reverend Charles Harrison of the 10-Point Coalition, he put out a couple tweets that are starting to fire some people up because he's calling out the lack of parenting in the city of Indianapolis.
Good.
When you've got folks that are under the age of 18, I'm sorry, you are responsible for them. You can't just drop them off at a party where you don't know anybody, they don't know who lives there, maybe they're going with one friend and expect everything to be okay. It's a different time, man. It totally is. And Reverend Charles Harrison simply saying, where are the parents? Where is the accountability of teaching your young people that you got to be smarter about things? And if there is a conflict resolution is an important life skill to teach somebody. Well, hell, the movie Friday, remember Pops at the end telling Craig, you don't need the gun, put up your dukes. Sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll lose, but you'll live to fight another day.
But it's like these parents, they drop their underage kids off at the mall or let them roam around downtown. It happens all the time on the Circle in the summer. Like what you just said, that you can't get a seat at B-Dubs downtown unless you're with a 21-year-old person or older, right? If you're 18 or 19 years old, maybe you're getting ready to go into the Army or something like that, or just get back from a tour of duty. If you're 20 years old, you can't get a seat at BW3s unless you're 21 years of age or older. That's in the whole restaurant, right?
Not until 5 p.m. or later. That's the way that it is.
5 p.m. or later, okay.
Yeah. Which is unbelievable to me. Again, somebody that's 20 years old, that's wanting to go to a Pacers game but stop into B-Dubs for a bite to eat, can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not blaming B-Dubs either.
Right.
I mean, that's a smart policy.
And it just goes to what Reverend Harrison's talking about. And again, he'll be on the show a little bit later on, how so many just out of control young folks, man. And that makes me sound so old. I hate being that guy. These out of control teens, these out of control young people. But we're talking about people getting shot and killed here.
Every weekend.
Right. Various parts of the city, not just Monument Circle. This was, where'd you say, up by 65th Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too far from Benford Boulevard.
Right.
So when you look at the numbers, man, it's not good. So far in Indianapolis this year, just this year alone, at least 800 people shot, 171 stabbed, and 187 killed in about 300 days. So if you add it all up here, you're looking at around 971 people shot or stabbed and 187 killed. There's an average of a person shot or stabbed every 7.4 hours in Indianapolis, and a person killed every 38 and a half hours in this city.
Well, you shake your head. You think about what happened in Lewiston, Maine last week, the 18 people that died in that mass shooting. I want you to think about this. Maine, on average, the entire state of Maine, on average, from 1980 through 2012, about 25 murders a year. The entire state. This county, you're saying, Hammer, is creeping up on 200 murders again. This county.
Yes, Marion County, as of right now, higher homicide rate per capita than Chicago. Indianapolis, higher homicide rate per capita, once you factor in the population, than Chicago is.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Maine, it's only got like 1.5 million people in it.
Right.
Indianapolis is 800,000 to 1 million, right?
Generously. I think it's closer to 1 million, if not more. And so now the question becomes, all right, we've identified a lot of problems here. How do we fix this? Because I got news for you. Neither one of these mayoral candidates have any idea what to do with the situation here in Indy. Honestly, if anything's going to be done, it's going to be done from people like Doug Carter, the superintendent of the state police, trying to work with lawmakers on ways to hold prosecutors, judges accountable, and maybe ultimately parents of some of these young teens that are doing ridiculous crimes. Hell, there was a story out of Washington, D.C. over the weekend where a kid was doing a carjacking and got shot. He was 13 years old.
I shot him dead.
13 years old.
That's tragic.
Shot dead because he was trying to do a carjacking. So maybe there has to be a conversation with lawmakers. You know, I hate having government be the answer here, but when you've got nobody doing any work to stop this in the city, maybe there has to be a conversation about the laws that can be changed in this city. How do you hold judges and prosecutors accountable?
How do you hold parents accountable?
How do you hold parents accountable? Nigel, it seems like only yesterday that Magic Mike Pence announced his run for the White House.
Mr. Chairman, delegates, friends, and my fellow Americans, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am deeply humbled by your confidence, and on behalf of my family, here and gone, I accept your nomination to run and serve as President of the United States of America.
There was a young lady sitting in the chair, and Mike Pence was ripping off his shirt, making that announcement. Had on assless chaps and was grinding. It was a much better time for Mike Pence back then. He was filled with so much hope and optimism. And over the weekend...
Yeah, I mean, his campaign never really did take off, did it? It
No.
never got off the ground. Poll numbers consistently in low single digits. Give me a break.
Even here in Indy, at the Indiana State Fair, which is like a home crowd for Mike Pence, there really wasn't that much energy. Remember, he spoke at the State Fair, and there was a couple people there, but honestly, I think they were just looking for the tent that had the pig with big sack. Oh, hey, there's Mike Pence.
All right, where's the pig?
Where's the pig at? So when somebody goes away, a high-profile departure happens. Here on the Hammer and Nigel show, it's customary that we have a very emotional Sarah McLachlan-style send-off. And ladies and gentlemen, let's bid farewell to Mike Pence's presidential campaign.
Respectfully, Mr. Former President of the United States, I didn't put up with your shit for 4 years just so I could go back to Indiana and live out the remainder of my days doing radio at WIBC with the likes of Hammer and Nigel.
There were times during the debate that I thought that the most effective being on that stage to go after Vice President Pence was that fly that landed on his head.
Oh, come on.
Mr. Former President, I am absolutely not going to hit.
This guidance for the next 15 days is what our experts say is the best opportunity we have to lower the infection rate over the entire course of the coronavirus.
15 days to flatten the curve. Remember when Donald Trump threw Mike Pence to the wolves of the coronavirus task force? Yep. Mike Pence not going to be the president. Also someone not going to be the president, Matt Baer.
Got that right. Southbound 65 stop and go traffic from 21st to Meridian Penn. Northbound 37 jams up from Epler to 465. That is a work zone. Traffic sponsored by Comcast Business. Start saving with Comcast Business Mobile on the most reliable 5G network. Most reliable based on Root Metrics U.S. report results vary, not an endorsement. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
44 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. And coming up next, Marcus Bailey, our pal Marcus, meteorologist at Wish TV. He's going to give you the trick or treat forecast for Halloween. He'll break it down for you so you know what to expect tomorrow. That's next on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
So our government has racked up more than $33 trillion in debt. And you know what they're going to do next? They're going to turn right around and make you pay for it by raising your taxes. Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. Learn how you could reduce your taxes in retirement with a free customized retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. We trust Bill so much, we become clients.
So if you've saved at least $200,000, schedule your free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. Learn how you could reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k, Social Security benefits, and other investment income in retirement. Don't let the government get your money. Schedule your free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. 648-5120.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today.
QVC is throwing the biggest holiday party of the year, and you're invited. Our non-stop holiday party is coming to you live for 49 straight hours of holiday shopping, tips and tricks to own the season, non-stop fun, and so much more. We'll be joined by our favorite celebs and guests, but it won't be a party without you. Join us for our non-stop holiday party, November 4th and 5th, everywhere you watch QVC. This is shopping brought to life.
Every dollar matters when it comes to Medicare coverage. When you enroll with MDY's Medicare, our low-cost plans give you access to over 27,000 in-network providers, $0 primary care copay with no deductibles, plus a generous OTC allowance. Call 833-248-3906 or go to mdwise.org/MDY's Medicare. Enroll by December 7th. MDY's Medicare is an HMO/HMO POS with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in MDY's Medicare depends on contract renewal.
Tiffany absolutely hated her job.
I was living paycheck to paycheck on a dead-end job that I did not like.
She'd been considering a change with My Computer Career.
I was able to qualify for financial aid.
Just 2 nights a week in a classroom and studying from anywhere online opened up a whole new world to her.
I get job offers all the time. IT is practically recession-proof.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I highly recommend My Computer Career.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $149 and a free hallway too, and $50 off air duct cleaning with Zero Res. Schedule online at ZeroResIndy.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, I'm Nigel. Hammer right over there with a special guest on the hotline.
Marcus Bailey, meteorologist for Wish TV, joins us. Big day tomorrow, Marcus. A lot of kids going out, knocking on the doors, trick-or-treating. But I also see we've got a freeze warning in effect. What's going on?
Yeah. It's gonna. Well, I mean, you're feeling the chill right now, right? Yeah. It's gotten colder throughout the day. We actually hit our high shortly after midnight. We were in the mid-40s and had some rain. But we've got this kind of this Canadian cold air that's settling in here, at least for the next couple of days. And so for the first time, we're going to have widespread freezing temperatures. So that's why that freeze warning.
Oh, come on.
I blame Justin Trudeau.
Leave it to the Canadians to ruin Halloween.
Got to blame somebody. Absolutely. I mean, there is some good news if there's anything. I'm always trying to find the silver lining because in the fall, my allergies are awful. So this is going to kill all that off, all the ragweed and the pollen and everything off. There's a plus side to this, but yeah, mid-20s overnight. Well, and then you guys asked me last week, like, how many more times am I going to have to mow? Well, you get in the mid-20s overnight. We're actually going to have about 3 overnights of mid-20s. That's going to effectively end the growing season. And so maybe one last mow, and then you don't have to worry about it probably for the rest of the season. But yeah, it's going to get pretty cold here overnight. Most of central Indiana is going to wake up to mid-20s tomorrow morning.
Great moments in lawn mowing history. The movie My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin, the mafia man that moves into the neighborhood in the witness protection program, wearing the suit, mowing his grass. It's a great day for a mow.
I can see you doing something like that.
Didn't think I'd be getting a My Blue Heaven reference dropped here on the show today.
So for Trick or Treat tomorrow night, Marcus, for the kids, and they put their costumes on, is there going to be one of those awful years where they're going to have coats on over the costume?
Yep. You know what I found interesting, because I was looking back at some of the dates. On recent memory, 2019 and 2017, those were Halloweens where highs were like in the mid-40s. In 2019, we actually had like a trace of snow. I think we talked about it last week. There was like sleet pellets and snowflakes. You know, something I noticed about that year that I never noticed when I was a kid, when, you know, you and I, the three of us are all about the same age. There was a lot of like just parents that drove up, let the kids run to the front door and then run back. You know, like, yeah. When did that become a thing? I had to through it. I had to walk through the neighborhood, and if it was 30 degrees out, I'd be like, well, if you want the candy, you got to suck it up. You know, but
you were walking uphill in the snow.
Right, that's right. Back in my day.
You know, I will say back in 2020, when it was like the COVID stuff was happening, that was probably the most efficient year for trick-or-treaters, because instead of knocking on the door, the people would just set up shop in their driveway, at the edge of the driveway, and kids could come pick out whatever they wanted. They hit twice the ground they covered. They covered twice the ground they could have by taking the time to knock on the door. Not that I'm saying I want to go back to COVID times, but I'm just saying it was the most efficient.
And you know what? As parents, we were in and out, man. It was like an hour, hour and a half, and we were done.
Yeah, it was really quick.
That was it. It was. But tomorrow, to answer your question, it's going to be similar to what I was just kind of mentioning, that 2017, 2019 year. It's going to be chilly. I've got highs only in the low 40s tomorrow. That's peak heating of the day. So, you know, after dinner time and you're heading out, you know, post 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and the sun starts setting, I think you're probably going to have temperatures in the 30s. Here's the other thing. Especially if you're listening just north of Indy, I think there might be chances for some quick little snow showers here. And probably what's going to be worse than any of that is it's going to be windy, so you're probably talking wind chills in the mid-20s. So it's going to be pretty chilly throughout the duration of trick-or-treat hours tomorrow.
Well, Marcus, I appreciate you taking the time to jump on us and crap all over everybody's Halloween.
Well, I try to do, man. I try to bring joy to everybody's life. That's what I'm here for.
Marcus Bailey, meteorologist, Wish TV. Marcus, thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Big Nige, big concert announcements. Yeah. I know you're walking around here with your chest bowed out. You're excited. Who's coming to town?
Creed.
Oh, baby.
3 Doors Down.
With arms wide
Finger
open.
11. Just like the summer of 99. Ruoff Mortgage, Ruoff Music Center happening next summer. I am there. I haven't been to a concert in a while. At least up there, I haven't.
Right.
And, yeah, I mean, Creed, come on, one of the biggest rock bands in the world at one point.
Did you ever meet Scott Stapp? Did you ever hang out with him?
Yeah. Yeah, I met and interviewed him a couple times.
Tell me a Scott Stapp story.
It was when he was solo after the band had broke up, and he was playing a show at Clues Hall here in the early 2000s, and I don't know if... Anyway, I had interviewed him on the for Radio Now for our afternoon show, and then I went to watch a show just by myself. I wanted to see Scott Stapp. It wasn't with the other guys. And at this point, he was sober, right? Sober Scott Stapp. Got off the booze, got off the drugs, got off everything. He was sober, and he's performing solo, and got backstage to meet him, and I could smell the Jaeger a mile away. I go, dude, I didn't tell him that, but I know what Jägermeister smells like.
Right. If there's one person that I trust in the broadcast media that knows what Jaeger smells like, it's Nigel. And hey, Scott, you're still clean, right? You're not drinking.
Yeah, sure, whatever. But yeah, no, I want to go to that show. I mean, does it get any better than With Arms Wide Open?
3 Doors Down is the opener, and is the highlight of their career the band that agreed to play Trump's inauguration?
Yeah, it's got to be, because nobody else would.
Right, nobody wanted to have any part of that, but 3 Doors Down was like, screw it, we'll play the inaugural ball.
Kryptonite, another great rock song from the early 2000s. Huge band.
So, last thing here, I know we got to hit a break, but Creed or Nickelback, both bands are playing a show. Who do you want to see?
Oh, don't do this to me. I probably Creed, because this is the first time they've been together since for 10 years. Nickelback's never broken up. So, yeah, I'm going to see Creed.
Give me your best Creed impression.
Hello there, friend, we'll meet again. When we're done, how have we begun?
It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
When you are with me.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Since I became mayor, our city has been through a lot.
Yes, Joe. 8 years of failures and excuses. Employers are fleeing for the donut counties. Roads? Congress did that, not Joe Hogsett. 700 new police, 800 have quit. Fourth in drug overdoses, and he hides that with a photo op.
I'm asking for your vote so we can get the job done.
After 8 years, shouldn't we expect more than deceptions? Isn't it time for a change?
If Joe Hogsett believed in his record, he'd defend it, not deceive us. But the facts of Hogsett's 8 years are just bad and getting worse. I've tried to campaign with respect for the facts, and I hope with respect for you, my neighbors. I'm not running because the mayor is a Democrat or for any kind of partisan agenda. I'm running to turn this around. I'm Jefferson Shreve, and I'm asking for your vote.
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
Hammer and Nigel here. When it comes to health, there are numbers every man needs to know, including your testosterone number. We recommend Low T Center. They make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. Walk in, take a simple blood test, and you'll know results in about 25 minutes.
Low T can make you feel tired and grumpy. It can cause lack of motivation and drive. It can raise cholesterol, cause weight gain, loss of muscle mass. LowTCenter.com. Book online right now. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They want to hear from witnesses. Cloudy, 44 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. No rain to worry about on your radar. You've got a low of 26 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:32. 10 people were shot at a party in the northeast side over the weekend. One of them, a 16-year-old girl who was killed. IMPD said Monday they know the owner and the person subleasing the building where the party was held, but they're still looking for more info.
There were several hundred people there. Somebody saw something. Somebody recorded something on their cell phone.
Deputy Chief Kendale Adams, he says the party was marketed through social media apps. Adams says they need help from witnesses to make any arrests. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen has new attorneys, and they're asking for the Indiana Supreme Court to open the case against him to the public. A 22-page brief filed today argues the local court and Carroll County prosecutor have violated the state open records rules for court proceedings. Allen's third set of attorneys want Special Judge Francis Gall to unseal more than 100 documents in the case. Israel says it's going to win its war with Hamas.
While Israel is doing everything to get Palestinians, civilians, out of harm's way, Hamas is doing everything to keep Palestinian civilians in harm's way.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about their ground invasion of the Gaza Strip. Israeli officials say the hope for that invasion is to eradicate Hamas and return any of the 200-plus people estimated to be held hostage. A woman from Portland who was being held hostage by Hamas is dead, reports the Israel Foreign Ministry. 23-year-old Shani Luke was kidnapped from a music festival. She was ID'd through DNA evidence. Some Hoosiers could wind up paying more to heat their homes this winter. Ryan Hedrick explains.
Indiana Michigan Power is proposing another rate increase, and they're justifying it by promising fewer outages and better technologies. The proposed change would increase the average user's bill to about $3 a month. There would be another increase in 2025. State regulators must approve the increase, and customers have a chance to discuss it at a public forum tonight in South Bend at Century Plaza. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:34.
Who can Carmel trust to keep our city thriving? Sue Finkham is the only one with the plan and experience to do it. Finkham has spent her career growing businesses and advocating for people, and her plan to keep Carmel thriving is simple. Prioritize public safety by hiring, training, and equipping our first responders. Introduce responsible budgeting so every cent spent benefits us. Support local businesses and ensure responsible development that doesn't endanger our community's one-of-a-kind character. Sue Finkham has the plan for Carmel's success. But what about Miles Nelson? What does Nelson care about, and where do his priorities lie? When asked what he has done on the city council to support Carmel police,
I'm really proud of spearheading a resolution to get Carmel carbon neutral by the year 2050.
Support the candidate with a plan to ensure Carmel's safety and continued success. On November 7th, vote Sue Finkham for mayor.
Paid for by Sue Finkham Victory Committee.
With traffic at 335, here's Matt Baer.
Yeah, Harrison southbound 465 on the west side is stop-and-go traffic after Washington down to Sam Jones Expressway. We have police activity blocking the left lane. That's also the left lane blocked on the north side right across the median, but there's no delay on the northbound side right now. Inbound 65 stop-and-go 29th to Meridian Penn. Eastbound 70 slows due downtown from Harding to the south split. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road on North Shadeland. Online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Skies gradually clear heading into the afternoon today, but it is going to be chilly. Temperatures staying in the lower 40s. Clear and cold tonight with lows into the 20s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The only way to bag a classy lady is to give her 2 tickets to the gun show.
It's Monday Gun Day with the Gun Guy.
Just watch out for the guns. They'll get you.
Guy Relford.
Stop calling your arms guns.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer here, also live in studio with us. The Gun Guy, Guy Relford, Second Amendment attorney, licensed firearms instructor. Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm great. And thanks as always to our sponsor for Monday Gun Day. That's Premier Arms in Brownsburg, the largest selection of new, used, and historic firearms in the Midwest, and PA Jewelers located right in the store. Check them out at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg or premierarms.com.
I'm going to hit you with this headline here. It's actually raising a lot of eyebrows throughout social media over the weekend. The U.S. has quietly issued a gun export ban for all non-government users for 90 days. What does this mean? What should we take away from this? Is this a big deal?
Well, it is a big deal, Nigel, and it's a really interesting question because, a lot of people, I'm sure when you read that headline, the first thing you think is, wait a minute, we export firearms? I mean, and how does this affect the common citizen? I mean, it's illegal for a private citizen to transfer a gun even to a citizen of another state, much less ship it overseas. So this is talking about a restriction on manufacturers primarily of firearms shipping their products overseas. And there's this whole system of regulations, and it's incredibly, as you would guess, with federal regulations, incredibly complex. But we have what's called ITAR. It's the International Traffic in Arms Regulation. And then you have something called EAR, which is Export Administration Regulations. But there's all these really complex regulations that govern shipping firearms to other countries. But we've been doing that as a country for years. And yes, there are only certain countries you can export firearms to, and they're subject to all these restrictions. You have to have an export license to do it, and that can be revoked if you don't follow all the regulations. So there's this incredible number of regulations that apply to this. But if you comply with all those, you can, yes, export your firearms to other countries. And our manufacturers have been doing this for years. They're now saying, well, we need to take a second look at this. They're restricting all exports for 90 days. And some companies have a huge percentage of their market is overseas to friendly countries that just want to buy their firearms from U.S. manufacturers.
Well, here's the reason. They say it's, quote, risk of firearms being diverted to entities or activities that promote regional instability, violate human rights, or fuel criminal activities.
That's where I'm going. Exactly what I was getting ready to say. They're saying they want to take a second look at this to make sure firearms aren't going to somewhere or just anyone that's going to promote instability. Well, they already do do that through the regulations I was just talking about. I think this is an excuse. I think you're looking at the instability in the Middle East, which, obviously the Hamas terrorist attacks are new, but instability in the Middle East has been going on forever. I think they're looking at recent events, and this is an excuse to simply attack American manufacturers as they've been attacking the gun industry through the back door. We talked about that in a lot of other areas, trying to shut down gun dealers through the ATF. I think this is just a direct frontal attack on U.S. firearms manufacturers, and some of them have a large part of their market that goes to friendly countries overseas, and I think they're just trying to put more and more manufacturers out of business. I really truly believe
so there's
that.
a lot of conspiracy theories about, we're going to war and we need all the ammo, we need to save it from here, but the ban doesn't cover around 40, like we're still shipping to Israel and Ukraine. And so you're thinking this is just another way to try to put the boot on the neck of the firearms manufacturers.
Yeah, what this does is it creates a monopoly where the government can ship all they want to Ukraine and Israel. But how about private manufacturers? Oh no, all exports have been banned for 90 days.
And I'll take that tinfoil hat, Nige, that's sitting right next to you. Why don't you throw that over here to me?
Oh, here it is.
Knowing the way the national media apparatus works in this country, to me, the timing is real convenient right now. Right?
Yeah.
So all of these media outlets are going to run the headline, U.S. has issued a gun export ban. Coming on the heels of what took place in Maine, this is the way for certain politicians to say, look, we're doing something about it. Even though they're not doing a damn thing, they're trying to trick stupid people into think they're doing something about it.
Well, that's right, because all this has to do with is shipping firearms to other countries. So what kind of an effect can it have here in the U.S.?
Right. Well, but the person that just walks by in the grocery store that looks over and sees the headline in the newspaper, well, good. They're doing something about gun violence, not knowing what the story really means.
Yeah, well, actually my thought, being the selfish person that I am, I looked at it and I said, well, the prices are going up right now because there's a huge run on guns because of all the talk about gun control, which always happens every time there's talk about gun control. So the supply goes down, prices go up. Well, supply is going to come back up to some degree because manufacturers can't export their guns and ammunition to other countries. So it actually could help moderate prices here in the U.S. a little bit that can facilitate gun sales. So every time these idiots try to stab us in the back, they tend to do the opposite. Biden comes out and calls for gun control. Ask your local gun store how his sales did that week. They were really solid, I'll guarantee it.
How were sales doing in Maine?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I sent you guys a link where they talked to, I saw a media article where they went to gun stores in Maine and they can't keep firearms on their shelves, including the very firearms that politicians want to talk about banning.
The AR-15s and things like that. Because, Nige, you and I were talking this past week. At the time, we didn't know the status of the lunatic that went on the shooting spree.
Oh, yeah.
They were still searching for it. It was a manhunt. Like, you would feel a lot better having something to protect your family as opposed to not having anything to protect your family.
Well, they were saying, we need to shelter in place, lock down. And I was saying, and I think I'm right in saying that they also should have said to the civilians, arm yourselves if you can.
No question. I mean, when I was watching it, I'm putting myself, in the place, as we all did, as we watched those media reports. If you were in Lewiston and this guy's on the run and they had no idea where he was for quite some time, and then they said, well, we think he's in this rural area or that rural area, well, there are people that live in those rural areas. If you're in that area and this guy's on the loose and he's still heavily armed and you're at home, what would you like next to you as you're sitting in your living room wondering what's going to happen next? I want as much firepower as I possibly can, and that's exactly what these idiots in Washington are trying to take away from us.
Do you think you're seeing a big trend in this country? And maybe it's not the most vocal people, Guy, but a lot of everyday blue-collar, middle-class folks that didn't used to be gun people saying, you know what, maybe it is time that we got something for our family. We trained, we learned what's going on, because there's a lot of lunatics out there.
It ebbs and flows, Jason, but I've seen it for 30 years. I've seen it for so long where, it condenses things down into one kind of silly example, but there's an old joke out there, which is a Democrat, just a Republican who hasn't been mugged. And obviously you expand that and say a gun control proponent is just someone who's never really thought hard about the need to defend their own life and their own family. And you think about it that broadly, yes, you see exactly what you just described, which people said, I've always talked kind of theoretically about guns, and all of a sudden now I've decided that I need to have the capacity to defend my family. And running a firearm training business for the last 30 years, I have people contact me and say, you know what, I was never comfortable around guns. I never liked guns. I always favored gun control, but I've decided not only do I want to buy one, but I want to make sure I'm safe and proficient if I need to use that gun. And I hear that story multiple times every week.
And the training aspect is the super important part for me.
Oh, you bet.
And listen, I'm not saying that if you don't feel comfortable with a firearm, don't buy one. You don't have to. That's fine. But for the folks that are like thinking of buying their first ever gun to protect their family, or maybe give it to their daughter who's moving away, living on their own, or son, whatever the case may be, buying the weapon is one thing, but getting properly trained is really important.
Oh, it's so important. It's so important from a safety perspective. I mean, we have far too many media reports out there. Sometimes I get involved legally, where there's these accidental shootings that break your heart. And all those things are preventable when you learn the rules of gun safety, not only in handling a gun, but in storing a gun, and then making sure that you're proficient with that firearm in terms of being able to handle a threat effectively if you're, God forbid, confronted with one. And that's just not natural. That's not intuitive. A lot of guys, a lot of times, I used to give couples discounts for my classes. And so ladies invariably would drag their guy in to come take a class. And the dude's sitting there in class, and while I'm doing the classroom part, and I'm talking about safety, and I'm talking about marksmanship, and I'm teaching the fundamentals. And there's this guy sitting there, he's rolling his eyes, and he's, slouched down in his chair, and, he's not making, any eye contact, and the lady's like taking notes and drawing diagrams, and she's all over it. And then we go out to the range, and she kicks his ass every single time. It never fails. And that's because it's not just natural. It's something you have to learn the fundamental. Once you do, there's no great mystery to it.
Right.
I mean, I hate to take all the wonder away from my training, but at the end of the day, it's pretty simplistic. But once you know the fundamentals, you're going to be an effective shot, but you don't just get that naturally. So yeah, a little bit of training is just so incredibly important.
Where can people continue this conversation?
Well, if you're interested in training, you can contact me through the website. It's tactical-firearms.com. I'm only doing private courses now, which I really like, just 2 or 3 people or one person. And we get a lot done in just a couple of hours, or on Twitter, just @GuyRelford.
Guy, you're the best. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
When you hear the name Jefferson Shreve, what do you think of? A candidate for mayor? Sure, he's that. But he's also an original supporter of Donald Trump. Jefferson Shreve has been with Trump from the very beginning, even despite Trump lying over 30,000 times, being accused of sexually assaulting 21 women. And Jefferson Shreve never condemned January 6th. Shreve even donated thousands of dollars to Trump's election deniers. It's bad enough that Jefferson Shreve got an A rating from the NRA and wants to ban abortion. But Jefferson Shreve and Donald Trump? That's a combination that's bad for Indianapolis.
This is Joe Hogshead, and I'm asking for your vote so we can continue hiring more police, get guns off the street, and invest in programs that keep kids out of trouble. We've overcome a lot in these last few years. I'm grateful for your support so we can get the job done.
Paid for by Hogshead for Indianapolis.
CareSource Marketplace health plans are reliable and predictable. That's important because your life plans are not. CareSource gives you the affordable coverage and premium network to take on whatever comes your way. Emergency services, hospital care, prescriptions, and more. Our plans are simple and affordable because when your life is complicated, it's important that your health insurance is not. For affordable coverage when you need it most, visit caresource.com/marketplace. We got you.
Life is all about enjoying the little moments. Don't miss out on them because of unexpected heart issues. At Community Health Network, you receive heart care you can trust. From simple screenings to life-saving diagnostic and interventional cardiology services, we offer it all, so you can get back to the moments that matter. Learn more about our services at ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care simply delivered.
If your leaky chimney is at it again, there's only one place to call. That's Chimney Solutions. Chimney Solutions has over 20 years of experience inspecting, sweeping, and troubleshooting chimney systems. From repairing your masonry to waterproofing to chimney caps, they handle it all with craftsmanship guarantees. The Chimney Solutions team is Chimney Safety Institute of America certified and members of the National Chimney Sweep Guild. Call Chimney Solutions today at 317-757-6979. Online at chimneyindy.com. That's Chimney Solutions.
We all need a certain level of socialization to remain mentally sharp and healthy, especially when living with a life-altering diagnosis. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. Coming up are suggestions that can help improve that loneliness your loved one may have.
At Cardon Senior Living Communities, you'll find our teams share a commitment to enhancing the lifestyle and well-being of the people we serve every day at every stage of life.
Create a routine that both you and your loved one can look forward to. Plan social activities and outings. They promote connection and reduce those feelings of isolation. Recruit your friends and family to participate. And if possible, use adult day centers to engage your loved one and give you that much needed break. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com this week and register for your chance to win a $100 gift card to 459 Barber Lounge. More info at WIBC.com.
Matt Baer, what's up?
We have a crash Southside Hammer, westbound 465, Emerson Avenue, Beach Grove. 2 right lanes are blocked. Also, watch out if you're coming off the Emerson Ramp 2 westbound. The Gore Point on the left is also blocked right now. This has traffic stop 274. West side southbound 465. Police have the left lane at Sam Jones Expressway. This is slowing us back to Washington Street. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland, online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
44 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Oh, is this like the sad, emotional Friends theme?
This is how you can tell when we're about to be serious.
Oh, my goodness. Turn this off. This is awful. Nobody saw the passing of Matthew Perry coming.
Well, I mean,
nobody saw that. He'd been sober for years. He was
But that
healthy.
dude did some hard living, though. Like, the fact that he died wasn't a surprise to anybody, I don't think.
Oh, I think it was. I was surprised. You were the one that texted it to me over the weekend, and I was like, "What?" Just because he'd been so vocal about his sobriety and so healthy for years. No, Matt Perry of Friends, Chandler Bing, passing away at the age of 54, found dead in his hot tub. He had been playing pickleball for a couple of hours, and it sounds like cardiac arrest. No drugs or anything were involved.
No narcotics were involved. Like, let's see what the toxicology report has to say before we officially say that no drugs were involved, because there were some prescriptions at his residence.
Well, I didn't read that.
But yeah, we'll see what happens here. But even if he had been clean for a while, and he put this in his book, it's nothing new. That dude did some drinking, did some drugging, and did some living.
It's going to have an effect on your heart, even if you do sober up. I mean, I'm not a medical expert, but yeah, that has some residual effects. Here he is, the great Chandler Bing on Friends, kind of an example of some of his. He was like the sarcastic comeback guy, right? This is from when Ross was upset at still being single.
I don't want to be single, okay? I just want to be married again.
Single white male, divorced 3 times, 2 illegitimate children. The personal ad writes itself.
That's funny. So do you think you'll ever work again?
What are you doing? You know I can only dish it out.
Like, everybody associates him with Friends, and rightfully so. That's the signature role. Some of his movies weren't bad.
Whole 9 yards.
Whole 9 yards was good. The sequel to that was all right. He did a pretty interesting, kind of funny movie with Selma Hayek, where he knocked her up and they had to get married and they were in Vegas. I think it was called Fools Rush In.
Oh, and he also did a comedy, which is one of my favorites, with Chris Farley.
Almost Heroes.
Yes!
Farley's last movie.
Yeah. Or was it Wagons East? No, Wagons East was John Key. Who am I thinking of? Yeah, it's Almost Heroes. It's Almost Heroes. It's a really underrated comedy. He did an interview. Matthew Perry did an interview with the BBC and said his drugging and his boozing had gotten so bad he couldn't remember doing entire seasons of Friends.
I think the answer is I don't remember 3 years of it. A little bit of the time I was a little out of it, yeah. My answer to your question is somewhere between season 3 and 6.
Man. So, yeah, that's a bummer.
Wow.
I was never a huge Friends guy. I only watched Friends because I was dating a chick that was into it and I had to pretend that I liked it. But he was my favorite of all the dudes on the show. So that's definitely a bummer. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Paid for by John Rust for U.S. Senate. Next year, Indiana Republicans will have the choice to pick our next U.S. Senator. But if it's up to Mitch McConnell and the D.C. swamp, we'll have no choice. The Washington elite and political insiders are trying to rig this election for their hand-picked career politician ally, Jim Banks. That's why conservative businessman and Indiana farmer John Rust has stepped up to fight for us. As a lifelong conservative, John believes we need an outsider's voice that's focused on Hoosiers. John Rust is committed to fighting the woke liberal mob, defending seniors by protecting Social Security, and creating an economy that works for middle-class families, not DC insiders. While Jim Banks and Mitch McConnell are focused on keeping power for themselves, John Rust is focused on putting Indiana first. Career politicians like Jim Banks are always talking about solving problems. But we can trust businessmen like John Rust to actually get the job done.
I'm U.S. Senate candidate John Rust, and I approve this message.
Man, I love my new Galaxy concrete garage floor coating. In fact, that was my job, my chore over the weekend was to clean the garage and get everything ready for the winter. And this new coating made it so easy to clean. Plus, it's 4 times as strong as my old, cracked, decrepit, dirty garage floor before they put that coating on. And they didn't use epoxy. That's the old stuff the other guys use. This is better. Galaxy uses polyurea. That's the new premium standard for coatings. So check out the before and after photos on their website, galaxyconcretecoatings.com, or call their office, 751-9070.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your independent, locally owned American Standard hometown dealer in Johnson County, Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling. Are you tired of the free air conditioner or furnace sketchy claims and want an honest quote with honest pricing from people who live and work in your community? Call Marshall Mechanical. Just go to callthemarshallnow.com to schedule an appointment. Financing options are available, subject to credit approval. Call for details. Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer in Johnson County.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. You may be aware that online crime is a huge threat, but did you know this problem could be a great career opportunity for you? Cybersecurity experts are in high demand and well paid. You can position yourself for this specialty in months, not years, at My Computer Career, even with no prior IT experience. Learn how you can train for this rewarding career at mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
Whether it's driving a race car, building a business, or just being mom, you gotta solve problems. I'm former IndyCar driver Sarah Fisher, and when my problem was foot pain, the Good Feet store became my problem solver. Having the Good Feet store on your team is like having a great pit crew, helping to keep the feet and body in alignment and well balanced. Now I drive, walk, run, and live life pain-free. At the Good Feet store, they know that foot pain can impede everyday life. It's a constant battle that can affect you physically and emotionally, putting a strain on everything from small tasks to big adventures. As Indy's premier arch support specialist, the Good Feet store enhances the quality of life for anyone desiring to live life without limits. My Good Feet arch supports help me cruise through my days in comfort. See how they work for you with a free, personalized fitting at either one of our 2 Indianapolis locations or make an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving. Start stocking for the holidays today with Family Dollar. Shop great deals on seasonal decor, baking essentials, and more. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what police know about a shooting at a Halloween party over the weekend. Richard Allen's new attorneys are reaching out to the state's high courts, and you might need a change of plans for a warmer Halloween costume. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
The White House calls it chilling. Elisa Brady, Fox News, condemning what happened yesterday at an airport in Russia's Dagestan region where a mob of protesters broke through security barriers over the arrival of a plane from Israel.
In what can only be described as a chilling demonstration of hate, bigotry, intimidation.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby also says the West is not to blame. Earlier today, Russian President Vladimir Putin accused Western intelligence services and Ukraine of fueling trouble in Dagestan, while also blaming the West for the overall crisis in the Middle East. The White House concerned about anti-Semitic incidents on college campuses.
Today, we announced that the Biden-Harris administration is taking multiple actions to address this alarming rise.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says those steps include outreach and support, ensuring campus police are included in state and local law enforcement briefings, and expediting efforts to make it easier for anyone experiencing discrimination, including anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, to file a civil rights complaint. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is warning of a long war as his forces expand a ground offensive in Gaza.
Israel did not start this war. Israel did not want this war, but Israel will win this war.
He's also rejecting calls for a ceasefire. The White House says a ceasefire right now would only benefit Hamas. President Biden signing an executive order aimed at protecting Americans from the potential risks of artificial intelligence.
This executive order will use the same authority to make companies prove that their most powerful systems are safe before allowing them to be used.
But he's also urging Congress to act, saying more needs to be done. A big rally on Wall Street. The Dow up 510 points at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What the cops know so far, cloudy and 45 degrees in the circle. You've got nothing on radar, low of 26 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. IMPD says that social media played a part in a shooting that killed 1 and hurt 9 Saturday. Sam Fritz reports.
Police held a press conference Monday to provide more details on Saturday's shooting on the northeast side. IMPD Deputy Chief Kendall Adams said that police identified 2 mobile apps that were used to promote the party and make cash transactions.
Snapchat was one and Cash App was the other. So those will be the 2 platforms that we're looking at to help us try to build a case potentially against the promoter and subleaser.
IMPD Chief Randall Taylor said that while they could not confirm the presence of multiple shooters, the number of shell casings found and types of weapons used would lead them to believe that there was more than one. Sam Fritz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Fraternal Order of Police President Rick Snyder says politicians have created soft-on-crime policies that have made Indianapolis more dangerous.
It is your political structure and your political officials, appointed and elected, that have created this mess. And unfortunately, the residents of Indianapolis are left with very few choices.
The FOP represents hundreds of police officers, including Indy Metro and Beech Grove. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen has new attorneys. They're asking the Indiana Supreme Court to open the case against him to the public. A 22-page brief filed today argues the local courts and Carroll County prosecutor have violated the state open records rules for court proceedings. Allen's third set of attorneys wants Special Judge Francis Gall to unseal more than 100 documents in the case, and they believe the public deserves to read those. Temperatures in the 30s and maybe even snow. That's what you could be dealing with this Halloween.
We need folks to be dressing appropriately, more like dressing for December rather than for late October.
Jason Puma with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says a freeze warning goes into effect starting late tonight. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in because they are making a profit from you. That's the law. Yet many times a normal day ends with injuries because that business breached that duty because they knew or should have known of the dangerous condition that caused your injury. It happens every day in many ways. Slip and falls where cleaning and maintenance were ignored. Falling boxes and items stacked too high. And so many other unexpected occurrences and dangers only known to that business owner. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, let our team investigate and report back to you. The duty to protect customers from harm is the law, and our duty is to protect you after that harm. Visit forthepeople.com for more information, or on your cell phone, dial #law. That's all. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. forthepeople.com.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05. What's going on, Matt Bear?
Harry, on the south side, crash westbound 465 at Everson Avenue. It's pushed out of the interstate. At least traffic is still stopped back to Brookville Road. My delay time is 36 minutes. And now we have a crash. It is on the southwest side. It's a stall. Eastbound 465 at Man Road, blocking the right lane, stopping traffic back to I-70. Inbound 65 stopping going 21st to Meridian Penn, and eastbound 70 slow to downtown from Harding to Meridian, Illinois. Traffic sponsored by Isaacs and Isaacs. After a car wreck, it can feel like you're living in a horror show. Don't let the insurance company make you feel like you're living in a bad, scary movie. Just click to get help quick at WeWin.com. Happy Halloween from the Hammer. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Skies gradually clear heading into the afternoon today, but it is going to be chilly. Temperatures staying in the lower 40s. Clear and cold tonight with lows into the 20s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
Boy, the field has really dwindled. Only 4 Republican presidential candidates have qualified for this third GOP debate, November 8th. 4, Hammer. We got DeSantis, Haley, Vivek, and I don't know how he keeps qualifying, Governor Chris Christie.
He's the caterer. They just throw him a bone because he's bringing all the food for everybody to eat. He's setting up the table, so hell, put a podium up there. Let him get up there and rip on Trump for a little bit.
So you're telling me Senator Tim Scott hasn't. Each of these debates have certain qualifications, whether it be polling or a certain amount of donations or donors, or and you're telling me Tim Scott hasn't got the nod yet to get up there on the debate stage.
Tim Scott, Doug Burgum, and
some guy named Doug.
Previously, Mike Pence, who has since dropped out of the race, had not yet qualified. Now the debate is next week. There's a small window of time to see if maybe Tim Scott can crawl into this thing. But in terms of the South Carolina politicians, it looks like Nikki Haley is winning that battle against Tim Scott. Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina before she moved on to the UN. And, of course, Tim Scott, sitting U.S. Senator from South Carolina. And it's not looking good. And honestly, I'm all right with this. These debates, first of all, the front runner's not going to be there, so it seems like it's an exercise in futility. But the fewer people you have up there, the better. And that goes with the moderators, too.
Yeah.
Hell, the last Fox debate, when they brought up there 3 different people to try to chat, and that crazy lunatic from Univision talking about debunked things to Ron DeSantis, it was a mess. It was a bad production. Now, this one, I believe, is an NBC News one, so we'll see if it's any better. That is coming up next week. No. Mike Pence dropping out over the weekend. It's going to be interesting to see who picks up his 8 voters, Nige.
Wow. Ouch. Mike Pence is a nice guy. Good long career as a staunch conservative Republican. I think it's maybe time for him to hang it up. Just sit back and relax in your giant Zionsville mansion with mother. Love on those grandkids. And
just troll Rob Kendall all the time. Like, I want to see
Yes.
Mike Pence get a fake account, and just troll Rob Kendall all the time. Like, ultimately to the point to where, like, Mike Pence wants his show back. He just shows up here one day and says, Daddy's coming home.
You're in my seat. You're in my seat, Pilgrim.
He just takes his chair and walks out of the building with it. The other candidates that are still in the mix, they're on the campaign trail. Donald Trump spoke in Nevada over the weekend. Ron DeSantis, he went on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker.
Oh, isn't Welker one of the moderators?
Yes.
I think her and Lester Holt.
And they were discussing what Ron DeSantis is doing as a governor in the state of Florida, defunding, deactivating these student groups who have pledged some sort of support, whether it's material support or something else, to Hamas and other terrorist organizations.
This is not cancel culture. This group, they themselves said in the aftermath of the Hamas attack that they don't just stand in solidarity, that they are part of this Hamas movement. And so, yeah, you have a right to go out and demonstrate, but you can't provide material support to terrorism. They've linked themselves to Hamas. And so we absolutely decertified them. They should not get 1 red cent of taxpayer dollars. And we also have strong laws in Florida against fundraising for groups like Hamas, and we are enforcing those vigorously. It's not a First Amendment issue. That's a material support to terrorism issue.
Yeah, it's the law.
Right, because people were going after DeSantis. I thought you were a champion of free speech. Aren't these people allowed to voice their support for this group?
You can go out and demonstrate and protest to the hills for the Palestinians in Gaza. You can say, but you just can't incite violence, and you can't donate, you can't pledge material support to Hamas.
Any terror organization.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to have a rally supporting ISIS and you're pledging your support and you're donating financial support to ISIS, that's a problem. Now, Kristen Welker of NBC News did push back a little bit.
Yeah, just to be clear, you're citing the Florida law that says one cannot give material aid or resources to a terrorist organization. Do you have any support that they're actually doing that?
Their own words are saying they're part of this organization, that they don't just stand in solidarity, that they don't just support what they did, but that this is their movement too. So once you hitch your wagon to a group like Hamas, that takes you out of the realm of normal activity, and that's something that we're going to take action against. So we believe we're totally justified within the law, and I think things like this have been litigated time and again. But here's the broader point. Are we just going to commit suicide as a country and let groups metastasize who are openly siding with brutal terrorist organizations? I don't think that's a recipe for a successful country. I want to have a country where we're protected from that stuff. Yeah. So I think we made the right decision. I stand by it 100%.
Yeah, I don't think the Constitution, I don't think the founding fathers had, pledging material support to Hamas in mind as part of your First Amendment rights. Give me a break.
Now, Chris Christie, who again, somehow, some way, has qualified for the next JV debate, he was doing the media rounds, and of course, he went on with CNN and Jake Tapper. And take a listen to Chris Christie here. It's almost like he's begging for the GOP to remove Donald Trump, as opposed to somebody, him actually beating Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is not going to be able to beat Joe Biden from a courtroom in Washington, D.C. while he's fighting his indictment on the January 6th case. And let me tell you, that indictment got much tougher for him to beat when his own chief of staff has now accepted immunity and will testify against him about the lies he told in the aftermath of January 6th and what he was told by his own people about the fact that he had lost the election. This is going to be a big problem for our party, and we need to cut it off at the pass, get rid of Donald Trump, and move on to honest, strong leadership that will tell the truth.
Well, I mean, Joe Biden beat Trump from his basement in 2020. Who's to say Donald Trump can't beat Biden this time around from the courtroom? I do struggle with that. I wonder how he's going to navigate that, how that's going to work in 2024 if indeed Trump is the GOP nominee. How is he going to be, juggling courtroom appearances and Election Day and things like that. I don't know how quite understand how he's going to navigate all that.
Speaking of people who have been known to juggle things, Kamala Harris did an interview. What? She's got a busy schedule, Nigel. She juggles responsibilities.
There was a Willie Brown joke in there somewhere.
You guys got a lot of growing up to do around here. A lot of growing up to do. I'm actually embarrassed for you. But Kamala Harris, she did an interview on CBS where the reporter basically asks her, why are you and Joe so unpopular?
A recent CBS poll found that at the beginning of President Biden's term, 70% of young people under 30, said he was doing a good job. Mm-hmm. Now it's less than 50%. Why is that? What's going on?
That's fancy talk for, why are you so unpopular? Why don't people like you? Like at record levels. Now, let's hear Kamala Harris give her well thought out and in no way rambling, incoherent response.
If you poll how young people feel about the climate and the warming of our planet, it polls as one of their top concerns when we talk about what we are doing with student loan debt. Polls very high. The challenge that we have as an administration is we got to let people know who brung it to them. That's our challenge. But it is not that the work we are doing is not very, very popular with a lot of people.
So again, the reporter's question was, why don't people like you? And her response was rambling about climate change. And then, quote, I'm going to read this word for word from the official transcript. The challenge that we have as an administration is we got to let people know who brung it to them. It is not that the work we are doing is not very, very popular with a lot of people. She's a heartbeat away from running this country.
Who brung us high inflation, by the way? Who brung us a porous open border? Who brung us Middle Eastern wars and wars with Ukraine? And who brung us all into the middle of that mess?
And look, I don't know who this CBS reporter is, but he goes back at Kamala and basically tells her, yeah, donors hate you too.
We were talking to some Democratic donors, and they have told us that should something befall President Biden and he is not able to run, that there would be a free-for-all for who would run as president. You are in the spot that would be unnatural for you to step up, but we're hearing from donors that they would not naturally fall into line. Why is that?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to engage in that hypothetical because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election.
You sure?
No, I mean, that is a concern and a legitimate concern, I would say.
I hear from a lot of different people a lot of different things, but let me just tell you, I'm focused on the job. I truly am. Our democracy is on the line, Bill.
Lot going on there, Nige. You've got the reporter saying, so not only do people hate you, donors hate you too. And then her response is, Joe Biden is very much alive.
I'm glad we got confirmation. I was worried there.
So it's just a bizarre thing to say, though, right? Like it feels like something they would say in Weekend at Bernie's. Bernie Lomax is very much alive. And they hold him up and they shake him and he's got sunglasses on, cigarette dangling out of his mouth.
If I was that reporter for 60 Minutes, I would have asked her, who brung us high energy prices? Who brung us high gas prices?
Matt Bear, bring us traffic.
All right, looking at the south side, eastbound 465 Stall Up Man Road, and this is blocking the right lane, stopping traffic past 70. And on the east side, southbound 465 is loaded before Brookville Road past 74. We had a crash. It was in the interstate. It's pushed out of the interstate, so we have started moving again. That's good. Traffic sponsored by Boost Infinite. Hey, thinking of getting the latest iPhone? Then check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just dial pound 250 on your phone and say Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And again, I'm really disappointed in both Nigel and Allison. I make a juggling reference in regards to Kamala Harris, and you guys take it right in the gutter.
I did.
Like it's supposed to be some sort of Willie Brown type of joke.
Absolutely. And I know that's what you were talking about anyway, so don't...
Children. I work with children around here. 46 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Is this anything? Next.
Cardiac issues are not only the leading cause of death in the United States, but the entire world. If you'd like to learn more about a heart health program that goes beyond just drugs or surgery, then join us for our free Holistic Integration Open House event, Heart Harmony, a holistic approach to cardiovascular health, Wednesday, November 1st at 6 p.m. You'll hear from Dr. Robert Prather, host of the Voice of Health Radio. You'll learn about our holistic heart program designed to give our patients safe, non-invasive, and medically sound cardiac care. We offer an individually tailored program that is more than just stents and statins. Healthy refreshments will be provided. Those who attend will receive a free autonomic nervous system test that measures your nervous and circulatory systems, a $175 value. The Holistic Integration Open House event featuring Dr. Robert Prather, Wednesday, November 1st at 6 p.m. RSVP by calling 317-848-8048 or online at thevoiceofhealthradio.com.
Hi, my name is Deb Whitfield, and I currently serve as a member of the Lawrence Common Council. I'm here to tell you a little bit about my friend, Maggie A. Lewis. Since being elected, Leader Lewis has introduced laws that are improving the quality of life for my family and yours. From adding more police officers to protect our families, prioritizing road improvements and infrastructure, to preparing our children for long-term success, Leader Lewis has been making a difference in our community. That's why on Election Day, November 7th, make sure you re-elect Majority Leader Maggie A. Lewis to the Indianapolis City County Council. We need leaders who can get the job done, and Maggie has a proven track record. She is a leader who is prepared, experienced, dedicated, and a friend in our community.
Hi, I'm Maggie Lewis. Your vote does make a difference. Paid for and authorized by Maggie Lewis Campaign. Peter O'Coffer, Treasurer.
Hi, this is Denny Smith. When it comes to your well, preventive maintenance is the key to safe and reliable water. C&J is offering their well cleaning special, and it's a deal that really helps improve the quality of the water you consume every day. To prevent problems, you simply must do a bacteria sampling, amps test on the pump, switch analysis, pressure tank check, piping exam, and a flow evaluation. Clean your well to protect the water you drink, bathe in, and wash your clothes. Call C&J to keep your water source safe, sanitary, and reliable. 317-852-WELL.
QVC is throwing the biggest holiday party of the year, and you're invited. Our non-stop holiday party is coming to you live for 49 straight hours of holiday shopping, tips and tricks to own the season, non-stop fun, and so much more. We'll be joined by our favorite celebs and guests, but it won't be a party without you. Join us for our non-stop holiday party, November 4th and 5th, everywhere you watch QVC. This is shopping brought to life.
Is your Generac home standby generator overdue for annual maintenance or an oil change? Schedule an inspection with a certified tech at Generator Supercenter to ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
Hammer, how do we play Is This Anything?
I will run some stories by you. You break down all the information, give us the verdict. Is the story anything or not? Okay. Is this anything? A couple on a beach in Australia found a message in a bottle. They unscrewed the top, emptied the sandy-looking contents out so they could read the message inside. And boy, did they get a surprise.
I've seen a bottle here, washed up. Looks like it's got a message in it. Wonga Beach. Crystal would open it up and see what's going on here. First one, ever.
First message in a bottle. Here lies, they're ashes.
Oh, what?
Oh, no.
Oops.
Here lies the ashes of Jeffrey. If found, please throw bottle into outgoing tide so I can continue my journey.
Oops.
That anything?
Oh, no. I just dumped ashes all over the So you're saying, so what happened was they see this bottle floating around, and there's a piece of paper inside it, but also some sort of sandy-like substance.
Right, which you might find floating in water,
It was actually some dude named Jeffrey's Ashes. Please throw me back into the ocean. Too late, you just got dumped out all over Australia, buddy. That sucks. Great moments in Ashes dumping history. Big Lebowski, Walter there, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Donnie's ashes are in that stupid coffee can. It's so windy. He throws them out over the cliff, and they just all come right blowing back in their faces.
Damn it, Walter. Gets all over the dude.
It's all over his beard and everything. Great moments in ash dumping history.
Is this anything? A North Carolina man known for having big, elaborate Halloween displays in his yard was robbed of some of his most valuable decorations.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
The thieves also targeted other neighbors who did big Halloween setups. Here is the homeowner talking about what happened.
Just a good time to come here. You can dress up, you can do whatever, nobody cares. They took Crunchy the Clown, they took a Pennywise I had made for me. They took 2 killer clowns from outer space. They took a Jason. They targeted and took the good stuff. They didn't mess with the stuff that was cheaper. There's not a resale value for these unless you pop them on Facebook Market and somebody picks them up. I don't understand what the purpose is unless they want a big Halloween house themselves.
Yeah, that sucks. That's something. $3,000 worth, that guy.
Ooh.
I mean, some guys get after it on Halloween. I know you're taking a break this year because of the butt stuff you got to do.
But we still got stuff, like out in the yard.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
You got inflatables and
stuff?
stuff?
My wife will be passing out the candy and all that stuff.
Some of those things, like some of my neighbors have these giant skeletons that are 20 feet high.
Can we back up just a little bit?
Yeah.
Somebody that's maybe listening for the first time. Now, you're not doing Halloween this year because of all the butt stuff. Might not understand what's going on.
You are having your first colonoscopy tomorrow.
Yes.
Have you bought the what is it, the Mucilex or Docalex, the pills and the powder?
The white powdery stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
I've got the big, Jonestown Kool-Aid punch, made up, put into little 8-ounce bottles. And starting tonight, when I get home, man, we start the 15-minute cycles of drinking all that crap.
Oh, man, I do not envy you at all. Now, I do envy you getting the propofol. So you're not gonna know what hit you.
I got the old Conrad Murray cocktail coming my way tomorrow.
Michael Jackson's doctor. I love that joke. I never get told.
We sit here and laugh until he actually walks in the room. Hey, I've actually figured out the dosage now.
We get the dosage right this time.
And he elbows me a little bit.
But you will be out the propofol, man, and you don't come out of it like all a little groggy, but it's not bad. You're going to want to eat your ass off because when's the last time you've had anything to eat?
Early this morning.
Okay, so you can't eat.
Right. I'm on a straight liquid diet from now until, go time.
You might as well sleep on the couch. You're going to keep Crystal up all night. Because you're going to have to get up and go to the bathroom every 10 minutes to 10 to 15
don't
to 30
tell me
minutes.
that.
I finally had to go downstairs. My wife told me to go downstairs and sleep on the couch. Because it was,
you've had this before. You've done this procedure.
I did it early last year. Was my first time.
So is this like the scene in Bridesmaids where the minute I drink this stuff, I'm going to have to run to the sink because it's coming out like lava? Am I going to be Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber?
It's more
sitting on the can.
It's more liquidy. It's not. Especially since you haven't had anything to really eat. It's going to be pure water by tomorrow morning.
Oh man!
But you are going to wake up and you're going to want to go eat your ass off, and then you're going to sleep for another 10 hours.
Yeah, I'm probably going to miss all the trick-or-treating shenanigans taking place, and I'm out tomorrow, and Spanglish is filling in for me.
Yeah.
So, again, the casual listener, Hammer said he's missing Halloween because something's going in his butt. Butt stuff. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
I'm a longtime Window Nation customer. My neighbors loved my Window Nation windows so much, they got a bunch installed in their house, and now my mom is a Window Nation customer. The numbers speak for themselves. They installed over 200,000 windows last year. That's 40 times more than the average window company. Trust me, man, I wouldn't be endorsing this company if I didn't have complete trust in them. And right now, they have a great deal. 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 years.
Call Window Nation today, 866-90-NATION. Even if you're just thinking about getting new windows or maybe you've got some questions, they will answer any question you have. 866-90-NATION, because you want to lock this deal in. 0 money down, 0 payments, 0 interest for 2 years, and buy 2 windows, get 2 for free. And there's no limit. The more windows you buy, the more free ones you get. 866-90-NATION. Give them a call, but you got to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
When you hear the name Jefferson Shreve, what do you think of? A candidate for mayor? Sure, he's that. But he's also an original supporter of Donald Trump. Jefferson Shreve has been with Trump from the very beginning, even despite Trump lying over 30,000 times, being accused of sexually assaulting 21 women. And Jefferson Shreve never condemned January 6th. Shreve even donated thousands of dollars to Trump's election deniers. It's bad enough that Jefferson Shreve got an A rating from the NRA and wants to ban abortion. But Jefferson Shreve and Donald Trump? That's a combination that's bad for Indianapolis.
This is Joe Hogshead, and I'm asking for your vote so we can continue hiring more police, get guns off the street, and invest in programs that keep kids out of trouble. We've overcome a lot in these last few years. I'm grateful for your support so we can get the job done.
Paid for by Hogshead for Indianapolis.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hi, this is Malia with Family Heating and Air, and as a mom myself, I know it's really important to keep the kiddos healthy. Air quality, humidity, those are super big issues on my concern list. If you share any of these concerns, give Family a call, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
No arrests yet. 45 degrees and mostly sunny downtown. All clear with a radar. Low of 26 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:31. A 16-year-old was shot and killed at a party over the weekend. 9 others also shot. If you know what might have happened, IMPD Deputy Chief Kendale Adams would like to hear from you.
So I'm begging you to come forward with information. No one deserves to die at 16 years old because they go to a party. And we're going to do everything as a law enforcement agency to do our part. But we need you to do your part.
IMPD says word of the party was spread through Snapchat and Cash App. It's also possible there were multiple shooters. No arrests have been reported yet. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen has new attorneys, and they're asking the Indiana Supreme Court to open the case against him to the public. John Herrick explains why.
On Monday, they filed a request in which they argue that the court and Carroll County prosecutor have violated the state open records rules for court proceedings. They believe hundreds of documents have been improperly excluded from public access, and they also think the trial court has failed to perform the clear, absolute, and imperative duty imposed by the access to court records rules and the trial rules. Allen is accused of killing Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi back in 2017. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
President Biden is issuing an executive order on artificial intelligence.
AI is all around us. Much of it is making our lives better. In some cases, AI is making life worse.
Speaking from the White House this afternoon, Biden says the action is aimed at promoting the responsible development of advancing AI tech. The order requires companies building AI systems to perform safety tests and share the results with the government before releasing products to the public. The UAW strike is over for now. The union reached a tentative deal with GM that ends a more than 6-week strike. GM's the last of Detroit's big 3 automakers to reach a deal which includes higher wages and better benefits. And your stock report, the Dow finished up by 511 points to 32,928. The NASDAQ also up by 146 to 12,789. And the S&P 500 closed Monday up by 49 at 4,166. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:33.
Who can Carmel trust to keep our city thriving? Sue Finkham is the only one with the plan and experience to do it. Finkham has spent her career growing businesses and advocating for people, and her plan to keep Carmel thriving is simple. Prioritize public safety by hiring, training, and equipping our first responders. Introduce responsible budgeting so every cent spent benefits us. Support local businesses and ensure responsible development that doesn't endanger our community's one-of-a-kind character. Sue Finkham has the plan for Carmel's success. But what about Miles Nelson? What does Nelson care about, and where do his priorities lie? When asked what he has done on the city council to support Carmel police,
I'm really proud of spearheading a resolution to get Carmel carbon neutral by the year 2050.
Support the candidate with the plan to ensure Carmel's safety and continued success. On November 7th, vote Sue Finkham for mayor.
Paid for by Sue Finkham Victory Committee.
With traffic at 434, here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, south side, we have a stall on eastbound to 465 of Man Road that has the right lane blocked and traffic stop and go past I-70. West side, southbound 465, slow 21st to West 10th. On the north side, westbound 465, stop and go traffic from Michigan Road over to 865, keeping an eye on that. Inbound at 65, loaded from MLK down to Meridian Penn and eastbound 70, slow to downtown from Tibbs to Meridian, Illinois. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go with Prosco. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road on North Shadeland. Online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Freeze warnings will be in place tonight with lows in the mid-20s. Then we're in for one of the coldest Halloweens on record with a few snow showers during the afternoon nighttime hours. Highs in the low 40s, but feeling like the 20s and 30s for much of the day. I'm Wish TV Store Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Hammer over there with a special guest on the hotline.
He is the pastor at the Barnes United Methodist Church, and the man behind the 10-Point Coalition, Reverend Charles Harrison, joins us. Reverend, how are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you doing?
Great, great. Now, I'm scrolling through social media over the weekend, and of course, it was another violent weekend in Indianapolis. There was a big party that took place. A lot of teenagers, young adults, possibly early 20s. Next thing you know, gunfire. 10 people shot, 1 person dead. You kind of went on a little bit of a tweet storm about parenting in Indy. Take me through your timeline of why you thought that was necessary to put out there.
Well, when I woke up Sunday morning as I was preparing for church, I saw on Twitter where this had happened as I was on social media. And, you know, it just reminded me of, you know, all of the incidences we have had in this city where teens have gathered late hours, early in the morning time, where we have had, you know, this senseless violence in the city. And I have 2 teenage children, one 16, one 18, and they wanted to go, you know, out to the Halloween parties, and I wouldn't let them because of the fear that I had that they're no longer safe. And I just feel like parents have to play a role in protecting our children. And with what has gone on this year, and really in years past where we've had these youth and young adults events, they all tend to end in drama. And I just feel like as parents, we have to set boundaries. I think there are parents who are aware of the fact that their teenagers may be involved in criminal gang activity, and they need to step up and start being parents and setting boundaries and start holding their children accountable.
Well, not only that, Mr. Harrison, but they are solving their differences with gunfire instead of their fists. Right?
They are.
This is an ongoing problem, and I don't know if it's a new phenomenon, but it's been going on for a few years now, where it escalates to, you know, back maybe 10, 15 years ago, you would have gotten in a brawl, a fight, and that was it, and now you're pulling out a gun and firing.
Well, that's the new reality, and that's why I say all of us who've been paying attention to the news and people like myself who are out on the streets, that's the new reality today. They no longer fight. They settle their beefs, their arguments, their conflicts now by pulling out guns. And tragically, because many don't have what I believe is a moral compass and any regard for the sanctity of human life, they don't care when they pull that gun out and start firing shots who may be around, who may be in the crowd. And that is saddening and very tragic. That we're living in such a society today.
And do they not care that there is a possibility that they could be killed and or incarcerated for the rest of their lives? Is that not enter into the equation at all?
It doesn't. They don't care. They don't have no fear of dying, and they don't care about the possibility of getting caught. When you have many of them who are getting caught, not really being held accountable, there's not that fear anymore.
Reverend Charles Harrison is our guest here from the Barnes United Methodist Church and the 10 Point Coalition. Reverend, we talk about parents here, and I agree with you. I wish more people had an active part of their kids' lives, but the real reality, and you see this more than probably anybody with the streets that you walk through, there's a lot of these neighborhoods where there isn't a positive adults role model in these kids' lives. Like, how do we fix a problem where on one hand, we need parents to act like parents, but on the other hand, hell, there might not even be anybody there.
Well, and that's what has changed, over the last, really 20, 30, 40 years in this country, where, in some communities, the church played a real important role where there may not have been a positive role model in the life of a kid. It happened in my life where there were, a lot of adults that played a positive role model in my life when I was kind of going in the wrong direction. They kind of got me on the right path. We have lots of community groups and churches that are doing a lot of great things in this city, but we haven't found a way to really connect our most at-risk teens and adolescents to these initiatives where they could play a positive role model in the life of these young people. And we have to figure this out because we're just losing too many to the streets, too many to the grave, and sadly, too many are going to prison, where we need to intervene in their life at a much earlier age. And that's another reason why I'm on parents. Parents who may be struggling, and we hear this all the time from some parents who may call this church, who say, hey, I have, a teenage boy, and I think he's heading in the wrong direction. What can you do to help? And I wish more parents would reach out to groups like 10 Point and other groups in the city, who have designed programs to try to help address this issue and be a positive role model in the life of young men and today young women.
Reverend, you said something earlier that kind of surprised me. I don't know why. You said at one point in your life you were headed in the wrong direction. What direction were you headed in, and how did you get it turned around?
Well, when my brother was killed at the age of 21 and I was 14 years old, I had revenge and hate in my heart, and I wanted to seek revenge against those who had killed my brother. They attended the wake of my brother and embraced my parents, and I knew that they were responsible for killing my brother. They attended the funeral the next day and sat with the family and cried when they had killed my brother. So, I had so much hate in my heart that I wanted to kill them, and there were other young people with me. But there were men in the community that were aware of what we were planning, who intervened in my life, and they helped turn my life around and put my life on a right path. But it was that intervention that occurred that really changed the course of my life.
I'm almost even scared to ask you this. Was there justice for your brother?
Yes, there was.
Okay.
And when you're taking your group through these neighborhoods, Reverend, the 10 Point Coalition, you guys go through these high-risk communities at night with a group that you call OGs. We're not just talking about church clergy going through the neighborhood here. You've got with you some folks who know what they're talking about. They've been there. They've done many of the same things that you guys are trying to prevent. And for whatever reason or not, I feel like those guys, those OGs as they're dubbed as, that's an important part of this, because not everybody, it feels like, wants to associate with the church, but people will listen to folks who have been there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that is true, and I think that's why we are so effective, because the people who walk the streets for us were once where these young people are now, and they're able to connect with these young people and tell their story, and you know what it's going to lead to, and we try to help these young people understand that there is a greater potential in them than what they are involved in right now in their life, and they're looking at the here and now, and they're not looking into the future. And I think that's the strength of what our OGs do on the street, and why in the neighborhoods that we patrol, you see less violence there than any of the neighborhoods in the city where you're seeing these high levels of shooting, stabbing, and homicide. You got to build relationships with these young people on the street if you're going to effectively intervene in their life, like what happened with me when I was 14 years old.
And Reverend, we see the current mayor's office bragging about hiring all these violence interrupters or things like that, whatever they call them. When you're looking for people to go out with you at 10 Point, how selective are you?
Well, we're very selective, and normally it is the leaders of these teams that end up selecting people to be a part of their team that patrols the area, because we want to know, one, the people who are going out with us are committed to the mission of the organization, and they're committed to these young people and trying to help transform their life, and that they're still not in the game themselves. So we're very selective in who we select to go out with us. But normally it is people who are very committed to reducing the level of violence in this city, particularly as it impacts juveniles.
And last thing here before we let you go, for those who might not be familiar with your work and what your organization does, or maybe it's somebody tuning in for the very first time, when you go out on these walks through the neighborhoods, take me through a night of what it's like. Do you hear gunfire? Do you see domestic assaults? Are people threatening you? What's it like?
No, most of the time now we will go in areas that we know are hotspot areas and where young people may be hanging out, who may be involved in cliques or gangs or involved in criminal activity. Since we've been doing it so long, we don't hear as much gunfire anymore like we did when we first started doing the work. So in our areas, very rarely now do we hear gunfire anymore like when we first started doing this work, because we've built relationships with the individuals in the neighborhood who are most likely to be victims and perpetrators of violent crime. So we go to where we think there are hot spots based on also police runs, and those are areas where we kind of hang out at and trying to intervene in the life of the most at-risk youth and young adults. And we do it, each team does it 3 or 4 nights a week. We have about 8 different teams that go out. So we cover Monday through Saturday, and the only day we really take off is on Sunday if nothing is going on. But that's why in the 10-point areas since 2016, 22 times our areas have seen a 100% reduction in homicides. Is because of that kind of work that we do daily. And we have some of the best OGs in the country.
And there are other cities that have contacted you and that are trying to mirror what the 10-Point Coalition is doing, right?
Yes. Yeah, we just got back from Cleveland a couple of weeks ago, so we're looking at implementing the 10-point model in Cleveland. East St. Louis has reached out to us. Columbus, Ohio. Wow. Cincinnati has reached out to us. So, and Louisville, Kentucky. So those are cities we're going to work with and try to replicate the model. And starting out in one hotspot area, and then the goal is to spread it to others.
Well, Reverend, as always, we thank you for taking the time to join us here on the Hammer and Nigel Show to share your thoughts on what's happening here in Indy, and really opening up and telling us a little bit about who you are and how you got to the place you're at right now. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Somebody that I believe is going to be your next senator from the great state of Indiana, which I love so much, Jim Banks.
This is Donald Trump Jr. with an important message. My father and I have both endorsed Jim Banks for the United States Senate. Jim is a pro-Trump conservative, a fighter, and one of President Trump's strongest warriors against the swamp. Jim served our nation overseas in Afghanistan and will always fight to put America first. He's been a leader on securing our border, standing up to China, and ending wokeism in the military. When President Trump is back in the White House, he's going to need proven warriors fighting for the America First agenda in the U.S. Senate. So please support our good friend Jim Banks. America Leadership PAC is responsible for the content of this message, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americanleadershippac.org.
Whether it's driving a race car, building a business, or just being mom, you gotta solve problems. I'm former IndyCar driver Sarah Fisher, and when my problem was foot pain, the Good Feet store became my problem solver. Having the Good Feet store on your team is like having a great pit crew, helping to keep the feet and body in alignment and well balanced. Now I drive, walk, run, and live life pain-free. At the Good Feet store, they know that foot pain can impede everyday life. It's a constant battle that can affect you physically and emotionally, putting a strain on everything from small tasks to big adventures. As Indy's premier arch support specialist, the Good Feet store enhances the quality of life for anyone desiring to live life without limits. My Good Feet arch supports help me cruise through my days in comfort. See how they work for you with a free, personalized fitting at either one of our 2 Indianapolis locations, or make an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Life is all about enjoying the little moments. Don't miss out on them because of unexpected heart issues. At Community Health Network, you receive heart care you can trust. From simple screenings to life-saving diagnostic and interventional cardiology services, we offer it all, so you can get back to the moments that matter. Learn more about our services at ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care simply delivered.
Here's a never-before offer, Indy. Act now before October 31st and get 25% off the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield. Restrictions apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, podcasts. Listen to the station live, whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
If you missed any of that conversation with Reverend Charles Harrison, that was really good stuff.
I was chilled to the bone. I knew his brother had been murdered when he was 21 and the Reverend was 14, but I didn't know the people that did it were at the funeral. He knew who did it. The perpetrators were embracing his family, and that was one of the most powerful. We've talked to him dozens and dozens of times, and that was probably one of the most powerful conversations I think we've had with him yet.
You can catch that at WIBC.com. Allison will get that up here in just a few minutes. All right, what's going on, Matt Bear?
Yeah, Hammer, looking at the south side, eastbound 465 is cleared up. Still a little bit slow from Kentucky Avenue over to Man Road from that earlier stall. North side, westbound 465, loaded from Meridian to Michigan Road. Eastbound lanes also tied around Keystone. And coming into downtown, inbound 65, stop and go MLK 221st. Crash 71st at College Avenue, 1 in Greenwood, County Line Road at Madison Avenue. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go with the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road or on North Shadeland, online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Freeze warning in effect 10 p.m. tonight to 10 a.m. tomorrow. Low temperatures dipping into the mid to upper 20s tonight. Right now, 46 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Yeah, that's why we drink.
The Hammer and Nigel Show. That is country music artist Justin Moore, who had an incident on stage the other night, Hammer.
A lot of people don't know this. That's Dudley's kid.
Justin Moore is not the offspring of... Never mind. Justin Moore split his pants while performing over the weekend. Had to leave the stage to change into a different pair. But when he came back, he told the audience what happened.
I go, I just flipped my pants. And I was doing this, as you guys saw. And everybody goes, oh no, he just his pants. I'm like, no, I split my pants. I did not poop in my pants. Well, it's a live show, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say?
I got to tell you, though, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often because all these guys, they're in great shape. Most of them are skinny, and they wear these skin-tight jeans.
Right.
That really accentuate their buttocks. And I'm not, I'm a dude. I'm not into that stuff. I'm sure my wife loves it, but I think I've had enough with dudes in skin-tight jeans.
Yeah.
The
whole skinny jeans thing, I feel like it's ran its course, right?
Can we just go back to the mid-'90s where jeans were baggy and the braided leather belts and the cargo shorts?
I don't care what we go back to. I just don't want to see the outline or silhouette of your crotch.
I mean, exactly. No more moose knuckles.
None.
So I'm tired of it. And maybe there's a bit of jealousy. I can't really pull off skinny jeans, but at the same time, they need to be so skin tight that you run the risk of doing what Justin Moore did live on stage and bending over to pick up a guitar pick, and you just all of a sudden people think you pooped your pants.
Right. And I don't care how old you are either, because listen, George Strait, it's time to put on some looser pants. I know I'm going to get hate mail for that, and a lot of women love George Strait, but I don't need to see the outline of the vein.
I think I'm going to the George Strait concert, by the way. Somebody who doesn't do that is Chris Stapleton, who's actually playing on that show, too. Wears the big trench coat and things like that.
Right. He wears like the parachute pants.
Yes.
Like it's MC Hammer's wardrobe and not something from 1973. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for ZeroRez, and you and I both know that the carpets and floors don't clean themselves. And in fact, they can get so bad that they're way scarier than any Halloween script could imagine. How about a gentle cleaning to soothe your home into a wonderful fall retreat with the patented ZR water? Really, it's a great time to clean the carpets, and it's quick and easy to schedule online. Nobody but ZeroRez has the patented electrolyzed ZR water that cleans with no soap, no harsh chemicals, and no residue to attract more dirt. They can even clean your ductwork to help you breathe easier. Duct cleaning improves the air quality in your home as well as the efficiency of your HVAC equipment. ZeroRez gets all the yuck out for a fresh fall cleaning with no tricks, just great technicians skilled in thoroughly cleaning up dirt and stains. Schedule online today at ZeroRezIndy.com and mention WIBC. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $149, and they'll give you a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. For a smarter, lasting clean and really easy scheduling, visit ZeroRezIndy.com.
This is Lisa Schmitz, and I'm running for Indianapolis City County Council District 17. I have lived on the west side of Indy for almost 30 years and have worked in human resources for some amazing transformational companies like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Galleons, and then as Vice President of Human Resources for a division of Napa Auto Parts, leading over 800 employees. Now I want to serve you, Indianapolis. Vote Lisa Schmitz on November 7th.
Paid for by the Schmitz for Indy campaign.
Hey, it's JMV here with Lance Smith, owner of LD Smith Plumbing. And Lance, I keep running out of hot water in my house. What's going on?
Well, if you're running out of hot water too quick, either there's a problem with your existing water heater or it's undersized. A great solution for that is a tankless water heater. You could take a 24-hour shower, never run out of hot water. And right now we got a great promotion going, $300 off any tankless water heater.
That's a great deal, and I need an hour-long shower. That's the best. Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing, ldsmithplumbing.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. You may be aware that online crime is a huge threat, but did you know this problem could be a great career opportunity for you? Cybersecurity experts are in high demand and well paid. You can position yourself for this specialty in months, not years, at My Computer Career, even with no prior IT experience. Learn how you can train for this rewarding career at mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online, qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
24/7 ER care for kids. 24/7 peace of mind for you. Riley Children's Health emergency doctors and nurses are in the ER around the clock at IU Health North in Carmel. Learn more at rileychildrens.org/ER.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what IMPD knows about a fatal shooting at a Halloween party over the weekend, why Hoosier businesses are paying attention to the conflict in the Middle East, and what kind of weather you can expect for this Halloween. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. We're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
No ceasefire. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejecting calls for one as his forces expand ground operations in Gaza.
Just as the United States would not agree to a ceasefire after the bombing of Pearl Harbor or after the terrorist attack of 9/11, Israel will not agree to a cessation of hostilities with Hamas after the horrific attacks of October 7th.
He blames civilian casualties on Hamas for using Palestinians as human shields. U.S. forces in the Middle East keep coming under attack with attempted drone and rocket strikes blamed on Iran affiliates. At least 24 attacks in less than 2 weeks now, the most recent coming after U.S. airstrikes on 2 sites used for attacks in Syria. Record deals for striking auto workers. General Motors becoming the last of the big three to reach a tentative agreement with the UAW after a 6-week walkout, costing GM alone more than $400 million a week as the strike expanded again over the weekend.
These agreements ensure the iconic Big Three can still lead the world in quality and innovation.
President Biden highlighting paid leave and job creation commitments in addition to wage increases. Union members still need to vote on the deals with GM, Ford, and Stellantis. The president signs an executive order aimed at creating new safeguards for artificial intelligence.
This order builds on the critical steps we've already taken to ensuring the AI Bill of Rights to bring together leading AI companies who agreed to voluntarily make certain commitments to make sure AI is safe and a system is secure.
The order requires AI developers to prove systems are safe, also directing the Commerce Department to set standards for watermarks, which can identify when audio or video is generated by AI. But the president is emphasizing that Congress still needs to act. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How it all started. Mostly sunny, 45 degrees on the circle. No rain to worry about on your radar. Low temps to the mid-20s tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. 2 smartphone apps were used to promote the Halloween party where 10 people were shot in Indianapolis over the weekend, says IMPD Deputy Chief Kendall Adams.
Snapchat was one and Cash App was the other. So those will be the 2 platforms that we're looking at to help us try to build a case potentially against the promoter and subleaser.
Chief Randall Taylor believes the number of shell casings found at the scene may be evidence that more than one person fired a gun. The problem, though, is not guns, says Indy FOP President Rick Snyder. He blames violence in the capital city on a broken justice system.
We have politicians in charge and other so-called advocates that will trip over themselves to get in front of television cameras to use those tragedies to call for more gun control.
Snyder says the city needs a back-to-basics approach to crime fighting. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen has new attorneys, and they're asking the Indiana Supreme Court to open the case against him to the public. A 22-page brief argues the local courts and Carroll County prosecutor have violated the state open records rules for court proceedings. Allen's third set of attorneys want Special Judge Francis Gall to unseal more than 100 documents in the case. Indiana has always had an interest in Israel, says Gary Dick with Inside Indiana Business.
The reputation of Israel is one of an innovative entrepreneurial economy, and Indiana has been trying to tap into that.
He tells WIBC's Tony Katz that even with conflict getting worse between Israel and Palestine, he doesn't see Hoosier businesses cutting back their investments to Israel. This Halloween is going to be cold. Temperatures could drop to the 30s. You might even see some snow.
We need folks to be dressing appropriately, more like dressing for December rather than for late October.
Jason Puma with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says a freeze warning goes into effect starting late tonight. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05, how are the roads, Matt Bear?
All right, Harrison, they are not bad right now. A couple of crashes, one on the north side, 71st at College, and one in Greenwood, County Line Road at Madison Avenue. Now northbound 465 is slow. 86th Street up to 865. Northeast side, eastbound 465, stop-and-go traffic from Keystone Avenue to Allisonville Road. Inbound 65 grinds from MLK to Meridian Penn, and eastbound 70 slow to downtown from Tibbs Avenue to Meridian, Illinois. Also, West 10th Street closed right now from Tibbs Avenue to Holt Road. That's because of a stopped train to avoid. Traffic sponsored by Indeed.com. You don't need a job platform. You need a hiring partner. Indeed lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Freeze warnings will be in place tonight with lows in the mid-20s. Then we're in for one of the coldest Halloweens on record with a few snow showers during the afternoon nighttime hours. Highs in the low 40s, but feeling like the 20s and 30s for much of the day. I'm Wish TV Store Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters
are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
Traveling across the country over the past 6 months, I came here to say it's become clear to me this is not my time. So after much prayer and deliberation, I have decided to suspend my campaign for president effective today.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people saw that one coming when he was talking there over the weekend. It was Mike Pence. He's out the presidential race, the GOP nomination. You could hear, I know we had music playing in the background, but you could listen to that on its own. You can hear an audible gasp throughout the audience.
His two supporters couldn't believe it. They were floored, both of them. Both of them did not see that coming.
Do his 4 donors get their money back?
I'm wondering what's next for Mike Pence now. And we'll get into this more in just a little bit. But what if he starts taking shots at Rob Kendall and he wants to come back and get his midday show back here at WIBC?
That'd be incredible.
So more on Magic Mike Pence bowing out in just a moment. Update on the war in Israel. This headline from the New York Times is interesting. Quote, Hamas has stored in its tunnels enough supplies to last 3 to 4 months of fighting. It has hundreds of thousands of gallons of fuel for vehicles, rockets, caches of ammo, explosives, and materials for their production warehouses. They've got food, water, and medicine.
That's Hamas, the terrorist organization.
Correct.
Has all that in the tunnels.
All in their underground tunnel system, their bunker system.
Sounds like we probably gave them half of that stuff. Hell, half of it probably came from Afghanistan.
Right.
After we withdrew.
And that's what I was thinking, man. I'm like, all right, we just gave them a bunch of money for, quote, humanitarian aid. China just gave them money for humanitarian aid. What are the chances that any of that money actually goes to the Palestinian people? Or does all of that money just get added to what we just rattled off here under the bunkers? Like the Hamas fighters, the Hamas terrorists, they've got all this stuff. But when that ground invasion starts in Israel, I guarantee you the people who elected Hamas won't have a pot to crap in.
Yeah, there's no chance the Gazans, the Palestinian people, have the luxuries afforded to them on top where the bombing is going on, as opposed to a Hamas who cowardly put their tunnels underneath hospitals so Israel won't bomb them.
And that's a total terrorist move, right? You saw, the Taliban and ISIS and Al-Qaeda all do the same thing.
Using women and children as human shields. It's their thing.
The one thing that I still can't believe. I mean, I should believe it, but I'm having a hard time. So many pro-Hamas supporters in this country and on these campuses, like Ivy League campuses, which they're supposed to be the smartest, brightest people our country has to offer. Harvard and Yale, the brains of America. And you've got people out there protesting. And my favorite are the gays for Palestine, the gays for Hamas. Like, what would happen, Nige, if this group decided to go over and do a pride rally in front of Hamas? What do you think would go down?
They would be beheaded within seconds.
Right. But that's what's happening across this country, and I guess I just don't understand, and we'll talk to Mock about this coming up in about 15, 20 minutes. Why aren't more people on these college campuses wanting the Palestinians to break up with Hamas?
Yeah, free Palestine should mean free Palestine from Hamas.
Right.
But instead their mantra is from the river to the sea, Palestine
will be
free, which means the elimination of Israel.
It's total ethnic cleansing chant.
Yeah.
And things are so bad on college campuses, and so bad, honestly, with our national media. I mean, MSNBC has been carrying the water for the Palestinians ever since they were coming out of the sky, paratrooping, murdering people to start this latest round of fighting, that the voice of reason, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm almost going to throw up in my own mouth. Voice of reason, Hillary Clinton.
People who are calling for a ceasefire now do not understand Hamas. That is not possible. It would be such a gift to Hamas because they would spend whatever time there was a ceasefire in effect rebuilding their armaments.
I mean, Hillary Clinton of all people saying that should be eye-opening.
That's how bad these morons on the college campuses and our national media are right now. They've got me siding with Hillary Clinton. For the love of God.
Just a side note about that New York Times headline, that article, Hamas is stored in its tunnels enough supplies to last 3 or 4 months of fighting. I guarantee Israel can outlast you.
Yes. They're willing to wait it out. They're not rushing into this. There's a lot of people, and look, I admit, myself included, that thought we would see a full-scale ground invasion already. But Israel's
in there.
waiting.
They're in there, but it's not the kind you're describing.
Right. Yeah. It's not the shock and awe that we were used to from years past. All right, Magic Mike Pence, he's out, not running for the presidency. And he was polling around 3 to 4%. Yeah. Promising polls, some less than that. It's not going to be a huge, deal where his supporters go. Donald Trump speaking over the weekend on Mike Pence leaving the race.
A lot of everybody that leaves seems to be endorsing me. People are leaving now and they're all endorsing me. I don't know about Mike Pence. He should endorse me. He should endorse me. You know why? Because because I had a great, successful presidency, and he was the vice president. He should endorse me. I chose him, made him vice president. But people in politics can be very disloyal.
Do you think we're going to see a Pence endorsement of Donald Trump?
Narrator. No. Simple, to the point.
Dude, just call it quits, man. Enjoy your kids, your grandkids. You worked at the highest levels, the upper echelons of the federal government. I think, maybe it's just time to enjoy retirement.
Right. Hang out, do, all kinds of Mike Pence things. Go to the 500, pray, listen to WIBC. Sure. Nothing wrong with that, man. Trump speaking in Nevada over the weekend, and I don't know how it went from talking about Mike Pence to the Russian hooker pee-pee tape, but I think this is the first time I've ever heard Donald Trump actually talk about it publicly. Now, for those who don't know what this is, reset that.
Well, it's from the Steele dossier, the bought and paid for dossier from Hillary Clinton and the DNC that said that Trump was not only colluding with Russia, but hooked up with Russian hookers and that peed on him.
Right. Here, speaking in Nevada, is your GOP frontrunner.
How about going home to my wife on the shower, the golden shower, they called it. And I had to explain that to our great first lady. I had to explain. They said, sir, they said, when you were in Russia. Well, I was I was there for so short a period. And they said this thing with the golden shower. And I said, I didn't care about the other stuff. The other stuff was, nuclear. I didn't worry about that. The golden shower was a problem for me. And I said to our great First Lady Golden, she said, nope, that one you didn't do. See, I'm a germaphobe. She said, that one you didn't do. So she knew immediately I had no problem there. I said, whew, that was a close one. That wasn't good.
I love that he was cleared, not because he may or may not have been with Russian hookers, but he's a germaphobe, and no way would he allow pee to come on him.
Should we bring Alvin in here to read some Trump tweets? Because he's been on a roll lately on Truth Social.
Yeah, bring him on in.
Guy. Hey, there's a little guy.
Alvin
Hop on up and
Alvin and the Chipmunks
Alvin is going to
studio.
Alvin is going to read some Donald Trump social media posts. This one I think was pretty good. I don't know if you remember Trump's former attorney general, Bill Barr. I love Bill Barr. So Bill Barr recently said that Trump had a limited vocabulary. Trump took to True Social to respond, and here to read that response is Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
I called Bill Barr dumb, weak, slow-moving, lethargic, gutless, and lazy. A rhino who couldn't do the job. I was tough on him in the White House, for good reason. So now this moron says about me, to get even, quote, his verbal skills are limited. Well, that's one I haven't heard before. Tell that to the biggest political crowds in the history of politics, by far. Bill Barr is a loser.
I think slow moving was my favorite.
Lethargic, I think, was in there. And I think at this point, Donald Trump doesn't give two craps about a gag order in any of his indictments. Here he is talking about the judge presiding over his trial in D.C. And again, Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks here to read that.
The Obama-appointed federal judge in D.C., a true Trump hater, is incapable of giving me a fair trial. Her hatred of President Donald J. Trump is so great that she has been diagnosed with a major and incurable case of Trump derangement syndrome.
TDS, baby. TDS.
And finally, before we hit traffic, Florida governor and GOP presidential contender Ron DeSantis was holding some sort of rally over the weekend, and Trump made a quick observation about that rally.
No crowds for Ron DeSanctimonious. He's like a wounded bird falling from the sky.
Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks, ladies and gentlemen.
No crowds for Ron DeSanctimonious.
Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
All right, guys. Northbound 465 stop and go 86 to 865. And Keystone Parkway, northbound lane slow right now at 116th. Eastbound 465 stop and go traffic before Keystone Avenue to Allisonville Road. That's a crash 71st to College. Inbound 65 dragging from MLK to Meridian. Meridian, Penn, and eastbound 70 slow to downtown. From Tibbs Avenue to Meridian, Illinois, the stop train is gone from West 10th at Tibbs. Traffic sponsored by Boost Infinite. Hey, thinking of getting the latest iPhone? Then check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just dial pound 250 on your phone and say Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Freeze warning in effect 10 p.m. tonight to 10 a.m. tomorrow. Right now, 45 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Well, guys, there's a lot of people talking about testosterone, and you definitely need to do your homework to go to somewhere that you can trust. We recommend Low T Center. At Low T Center, they make it easy. You just walk in, you take a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. So if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, notice weight gain, loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels.
And what's cool is the Low T Center is not like a typical doctor's office where you've got this really long wait. The Low T Center is concierge medicine exclusively for guys. They have affordable and convenient treatment options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments that ship directly to your home. So you don't even have to drive to a Low T Center. And right now, it's only $25 to get your T level tested, and you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Go to lowtcenter.com. Book that appointment today. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
We set out to be the very best of the best, and past couple years we've actually achieved that. For all of the state of Indiana, we've been awarded the Dealer of the Year award twice now. Unlike other brands, that only gets handed to one dealer every year, and we're very proud to have won that twice.
Put the best to work for you at FamilyHVAC.net. Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
1 point, 1 swing, 1 tackle, 1 step. One trusted hospital system for orthopedic care. Franciscan Health's orthopedic, sports medicine, and rehabilitation teams offer state-of-the-art treatments, including total joint replacement, physical therapy, and the latest techniques and interventions for a variety of conditions, including arthritis and orthopedic sports-related injuries, keeping you in step, 1 step at a time. Find a full range of orthopedic care in one place. Go to franciscanhealth.org/orthocare.
When your health is complicated, it's important that your health insurance is not. That's why CareSource offers affordable marketplace plans with a premium network that helps you stay healthy. In addition to doctor visits, emergency services, hospital care, and prescription benefits, we also provide dependable coverage for chronic conditions like diabetes, too. To learn more about our marketplace health plans, visit caresource.com/marketplace. CareSource, we got you.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
QVC is throwing the biggest holiday party of the year, and you're invited. Our non-stop holiday party is coming to you live for 49 straight hours of holiday shopping, tips and tricks to own the season, non-stop fun, and so much more. We'll be joined by our favorite celebs and guests, but it won't be a party without you. Join us for our non-stop holiday party, November 4th and 5th, everywhere you watch QVC. This is shopping brought to life.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
The Hammer and Nigel Show. Colts lose at home to the Saints, 38-27. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer, right over there with a special guest on the hotline.
One half of the morning show on 107.5 The Fan, KB and Andy. The KB of that program is Kevin Bowen. And Kevin, yesterday, for the first time this season, I realistically started looking at mock drafts for next season because that loss from the Colts, that's it. That's donezo, right?
Yeah, I would say it's probably the emptiest, like we've talked on a Monday, just based off, how they play defensively is supposed to be the thing, especially their defensive front. Supposed to be the thing that you rely on. You invested a lot there. And now, if you look at it, guys, it's just such a shocking stat to me, and I'm sure season ticket members don't need me to remind them of this at all, but that is now the 9th time in the last 10 games at Lucas Oil Stadium the Colts have lost. And it's just such an embarrassing statistic that the inability to protect home field at all. And now you're 3-5. If you look at the standings right now, New England's the only team in the AFC below you. And unless you string something together of substantial proportions, which it seems a bit far-fetched right now, those mock drafts can be viewed more and more.
And unfortunately, the Colts are probably too good to get one of the game-changing players. They don't really need a quarterback at this point, but for those who wanted Marvin Harrison Jr., the Colts are probably not in that position. So I'm looking at cornerbacks, maybe edge rushers, other wide receivers. Like, what are the biggest needs, biggest problems on this team right now, Kevin?
Well, I think you certainly laid out several of them right there, Hammer. I would argue pass rusher ahead of wideout, which I know might sound a little crazy, but just kind of hear me out on this. First off, with just how the game has changed over the years, more and more wideouts get drafted higher and higher in drafts. The college game, they chuck it all the time, so naturally there's just more wideouts. So I do think if you were going to compare like positions of depth, I think it's easier. Obviously, the Colts haven't been able to do it, but it's easier to find really high-end wideouts than it is to find high-end pass rushers. And, I just look at yesterday, and sure, the Colts have a cornerback problem. That is not breaking news whatsoever. They also have an edge rushing problem, and Derek Carr was hit 2 times yesterday by the Colts. That is an inexcusable number. It allowed Carr, who had really been struggling up to this point, to have one of the best games of his career, which is obviously a very lengthy career as well. So when I think about the edge pass rush group, the inability to close out games when you do have leads, a la that Cleveland game last week, and just consistently to disrupt the opposing quarterback, I feel like the Colts don't have an individual edge rusher that can do that. So, certainly wideout is up there. Obviously, corner is up there as well. But just based off kind of the scarcity at that position, I would go edge rusher.
All right, KB, give me some hope. Give me some good news. Like, I love Franklin. I love that we have the NFL's leading tackler on our team, even though he was kind of hobbled yesterday. I like the 1-2 punch of our running backs, Taylor and Moss. Give me any glimmer of hope, any good things about the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I guess before I go into full hope mode, some might like when those 1-2 punch at running back is maybe used a little bit more than it was used yesterday in that game. How about Josh Downs? Absolute stud at wideout right away. A guy that kind of fits an area the Colts really haven't had, that smallish, shiftier wideout. I think his game is even more than just kind of labeling him as that. I think he's been outstanding. Credit Chris Ballard, credit Reggie Wayne for that identification and getting him in the 3rd round. So I would go there. Obviously Juju Brents, we didn't see him play yesterday, 2nd-round pick out of Warren. I thought when he was playing, it was starting to see a little bit more, and certainly the cornerback product can't get much worse. So I do think when he gets back in the lineup, that's something that you would like to see. And I think the offensive line has been better than it was last year. Again, pretty low bar from last year, but I do think there were some questions of, could you regain a little bit of form? I'm not saying they're a top 5 unit, but I do think they've given your offense a chance. And I would say certainly this time last year, they had not done that whatsoever.
What grade would you give our backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew, throughout the first half of the season?
Ooh, that's a good one. C plus. Yeah, Minshew yesterday, there were certainly some plays he made with his legs.
Yeah.
And extended some things. I thought the touchdown pass to Drew Ogletree was outstanding.
That was incredible.
That was a hell of a play to roll to his right, then deliver that ball on target. At the same time, and this is a little nerdy numbers, but he averaged just over 5 yards per attempt. That is an awful number, and it's a kind of a key quarterback metric. And you were just over 50% as a passer. So if you're going to dink and dunk it, which is pretty much what 5 yards per attempt says, you can get by if you're 80% or, something like that. But when you're not that, That's even more alarming. Obviously, he had the interception there that, again, Jacksonville and Cleveland the last 2 weeks, those games had a little bit more from a turnover standpoint. But still, yesterday, that was a critical turnover at a juncture in the game in which, you were driving to potentially take a lead.
Kevin Bowen with us from 107.5 The Fan. NFL trade deadline is tomorrow, Kevin. What are the Colts going to do, if anything? Like, if an offer comes in from somebody like the Jets or the Vikings who have quarterback issues, but they feel like they could still make the playoffs possibly, Gardner Minshew possibly available, or is he locked in with the horseshoe?
Well, I would hope no one really is locked in. Certainly, I don't think Gardner Minshew has earned locked-in status, I guess, if you just want to throw out that name. Obviously, there are some guys that would take quite a lot of trying to get away from you, but I don't think your backup quarterback should be labeled as that. Hammer, this is probably where I and Chris Ballard differ a bit. Let's look at the Ballard tenure. This will be his 7th trade deadline. Last year is the only time he made a trade in season. Even the Ryan Grigson era didn't have a lot of in-season trades. Obviously, the infamous Trent Richardson one is something a lot of people remember. But how I view it is this. You're 3-5. You've lost 3 straight. Unless your last name is a Colts employee, you'd probably be naive to think this is a realistic playoff type of contender. So if that's the case, I view it and say, if there's anybody on your roster that you don't look at as part of the 2024 plan and beyond, there's a lot of notable free agents on this year's team, then you try and get something of value in return. For example, I'll use the name Bobby Okereke. Colts fans will recall he was a linebacker, had a nice 4-year run here. But you were not going to re-sign him last offseason. You had already paid too much at linebacker. He was going to move on in free agency. Well, the bummer of that is he moves on in free agency, and you get nothing in return for him. So I think that's where you utilize this time period and say, all right, again, 3-5. I've lost 3 straight. Even if some miracle happens and you get on a run, are you really going to make any sort of deep playoff push or even playoff run? The reality is no. So in my opinion, if there's a guy, again, on your team that you don't view as part of your plans moving forward, now is the time to get something in return for him. And that just adds to kind of the areas that you can build to some of those needs we talked about earlier with, in all reality, at the start of the season, this is always kind of a long-term viewed year than a short-term all-in push your chips into the middle of the table type of season.
Who are some potential names that could be brought up tomorrow, Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, the free agent list, Zach Moss is a free agent. Are you really going to re-sign a running back like Moss with Jonathan Taylor already making the amount of money that he's making? Michael Pittman's a free agent. I think you re-sign him, so I don't necessarily view him. I've always been curious the role for Mo Alley-Cox at tight end. It seems to be dwindling. There seems to be some younger guys that they like. Not sure you can get much in return for him, to be honest. And then flip over to the other side of the ball. Julian Blackmon at safety is in a contract year. Kenny Moore at corner is in a contract year. Again, 2 guys that are they definitely going to be here next year and beyond. I still think they can be quality players for you, but if you have some doubt or you're ready to turn the page there, then I think trying to jump on that would be a wise decision.
Where can we get more coverage?
Yeah, 1075thefan.com. Again, trade deadline tomorrow at 4 o'clock, so we'll certainly keep you up to date on that all day tomorrow. And the wake-up call with myself, Kevin Bowen, and Andy Sweeney, 7 to 10 on 1075 The Fan.
Am I coming back on Thursday? I feel like we got a good thing rolling on Thursday night betting. Am I getting another extension?
Yeah, we don't bail on you until you lose. So yeah, as long as you win, hell yeah. Yeah, 9:30 every Thursday. Jason Hammer joining us with the Degenerate Special.
There we go. Kevin Bowen, 107.5 The Fan. KB, thank you. All right, coming up next, one half of the Chicks on the Right, Mock, will join us. And again, I want to get her thoughts on what's going on these college campuses with all of these allegedly educated kids marching in favor of Hamas. We'll talk about that right after the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They want to hear from witnesses. Cloudy and 45 downtown. Nothing on your radar. Low temps drop to the mid-20s tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:32. A 16-year-old was shot and killed at a party over the weekend. 9 others were also shot. If you know what might have happened, IMPD Deputy Chief Kendall Adams would like a word with you.
So I'm begging you to come forward with information. No one deserves to die at 16 years old because they go to a party. And we're going to do everything as a law enforcement agency to do our part. But we need you to do your part.
IMPD says word of the party was spread through Snapchat and Cash App. It's also possible there were multiple shooters. No arrests have been reported yet. IMPD officers say they found Marion Janes on the west side this afternoon. He escaped from the Edinburgh Correctional Facility this morning and was serving a 20-year sentence for burglary. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen has new attorneys, and they're asking the Indiana Supreme Court to open the case against him to the public. John Herrick explains why.
On Monday, they filed a request in which they argue that the court and Carroll County prosecutor have violated the state open records rules for court proceedings. They believe hundreds of documents have been improperly excluded from public access, and they also think the trial court has failed to perform the clear, absolute, and imperative duty imposed by the access to court records rules and the trial rules. Allen is accused of killing Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi back in 2017. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
The White House says they've seen an increase in anti-Semitic threats and demonstrations on college campuses.
There's no place for hate in America, and we condemn any anti-Semitic threat or incident in the strongest terms.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says they're keeping an eye on Cornell University after multiple threats were found on an internet discussion board against a Jewish center on its campus. President Biden is congratulating the UAW for reaching a deal with GM, Ford, and Stellantis.
Commitment by the Big Three to create more full-time middle-class jobs and invest tens of billions more dollars in plants and factories building automobiles' future here in America.
Biden says all parties negotiated in good faith. You're paying an average of $3.38 for a gallon of gas in Indiana today. That's according to GasBuddy.com. And with traffic at 5:34, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, looking at the north side crash at 71st and College Avenue. Also on the south side, that would be Greenwood, crash County Line Road at Madison Avenue. Inbound 65 stop-and-go traffic. It's MLK to Meridian Penn. Northbound lanes a little slow around west. And heading to the east side, eastbound 70 stop-and-go traffic from Sherman Drive to Emerson. Eastbound 72 downtown slow from Harding Street to Meridian, Illinois. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road on North Shadeland. Online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Freeze warnings will be in place tonight with lows in the mid-20s. Then we're in for one of the coldest Halloweens on record with a few snow showers during the afternoon nighttime hours. Highs in the low 40s, but feeling like the 20s and 30s for much of the day. I'm WIBC TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The Hammer and Nigel Show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a special guest on the hotline.
One half of the Chicks on the Right program, Mock, joins us. And Mock, I know it's a somber day for America today. I know you've been taking this very hard. I'm surprised you even were able to muster up the courage to speak with us because Mike Pence's presidential campaign has come to an end.
I have been grieving all weekend. Well, you listen, I'm proud of him, actually, because there are other people that are still in this race that I cannot understand why they haven't reached the same conclusion that Mike Pence did, but good on him for reading the room.
I believe you're talking about Chris Christie, probably, is the other guy that has no business being up there.
Has Asa Hutchinson dropped out? For real?
Who? Yeah, exactly.
What about Doug? You know, you're telling me that Doug made it further than Mike Pence did?
Right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that there are still so many people in. And you would think that, like, they would get the hint when they're not even eligible for the next debate that this would be a sign. And I just can't believe that more of them aren't dropping out.
Does your boy Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, does he have a puncher's chance in beating Donald Trump in the GOP primary?
If polls are to be believed, then no.
Yeah.
But I would love to believe that the polls are wrong and that once more people drop out, that it'll seriously become a two-man race, and then we'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of in the state where I just can't believe that we're letting such a good thing go to waste. And we are. I mean, as a country, the country just seems hell-bent on on making another Trump presidency happen, and they don't care that he's 80. They don't care that we've got like a really solid choice in Ron DeSantis. They want Trump back, and I don't understand it, but there's nothing I can do to change it.
It feels like after New Hampshire is kind of that line in the sand, right? Because Iowa's always been kind of quirky. Even if you lose Iowa, it's not the end of the world. There's a lot of people that went on to be the nominee that lost Iowa. Yeah. But after New Hampshire, if you're getting your brakes beaten off, if you're Ramaswamy, if you're Tim Scott, if you're Nikki Haley, or even Ron DeSantis, after 2 primaries and you're getting your doors blown off, that's ball game, right?
I think so. I mean, I don't know how else to interpret it. Like if the country, if that doesn't send a message to these other candidates that it's time to get out, I don't know what else will, especially when you look at a South Carolina when we've got 2 contenders from there. Like if Nikki Haley, for example, does better than Tim Scott, at that point, Tim's got to get out, right? Like, there's no point in staying in when your own state is saying, no, this is not your time. You got to get out.
Now, it's not going to be Mike Pence. There's a lot of bad blood there. But is there anybody in this mix of current candidates that you could see as a possible running mate with Donald Trump? Would it even make a difference? Or is he best going with Kristi Noem or somebody like that?
Well, I would hope that, I don't know about the current crop. Like, I'm not seeing, I just don't think Nikki wants that. I don't think she's interested in a VP position. I just don't think that's her. I would love to, for just selfish reasons, I would love to see Trump choose somebody like a Kristi Noem over somebody like a Carrie Lake, who I just think is too much like him to try to entice any independents to coming over to that ticket. Or, God forbid, somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene. That would be the worst mistake he could make.
Well, Trump,
it's got to be somebody that can balance him out to some degree.
Yeah, Trump and Tim Scott, I think, would be incredible.
Yeah, that would be nice. That'd be a good ticket.
So as Mike Pence rides off into the sunset, it looks like there's going to be another challenger to Joe Biden. Now, as of right now, we're not talking about Gavin Newsom because he's too busy plowing over young children on a basketball court in China. We're not talking about Michelle Obama, who the tinfoil hat theory is they're going to roll her out right before the convention. But there's some representative from Minnesota that said, you know what? I'm in it. I am competing. I want to try to primary Joe Biden.
Dean Phillips, I believe is his name.
Yes, Dean Phillips. And it's so funny because you cannot, he did a bunch of interviews where he's talking about this and he wants to say, look at me, I'm running for president and I'm going to be so awesome. But the second that he's questioned about whether what he has a problem with Joe Biden, he won't say. So he actually said to Kristen Welker in an interview, well, I'm not running against Joe Biden. I'm just running for president. And she had to say to him, do you understand that is the same thing? Like he can't bear to actually admit that he has any issues with Joe Biden's policies. He would copy everything he's doing and then some. But he still, I think for him, he wants to harp on the age thing, which I don't disagree. I mean, I think 2 80-year-old candidates is a terrible thing for America, but that seems to be the direction we're headed. And that seems to be his only argument for why he should be the nominee.
But let's be real here. Gavin Newsom is running for president. He just hasn't announced it yet. This has been a shadow campaign for a long-ass time.
I totally agree with you, and I don't exactly know what the mechanics are going to be to get him to be the nominee, but I suspect that there's going to be some kind of hanky-panky at the convention, and that is going to be ultimately, I think that's going to be when you see a Gavin Newsom rise, because, so far, he's just absolutely denied unequivocally that he's running. He's just like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm 100% behind Joe Biden, but then every action that he takes seems to contradict that. The fact that he's going to have a debate with DeSantis, the fact that he went over and met with President Xi. I mean, come on. He wants this bad, and I think somehow, I don't know how, but I think somehow the Democrats are going to make it happen.
Chatting with Mock from the Chicks on the Right program here on the Hammer and Nigel show. Turning our attention to the war in Israel. Why don't the college kids on these campuses, and really even the mainstream national media in this country, ever complain about Hamas not taking care of their people and not passing out humanitarian aid? Because it looks like there's an awful lot of sympathizers for the Palestinians, for Hamas in this country, but that's one of the arguments that I never hear. For a group that gets a lot of humanitarian aid, how come they never pass any of it out?
Right? I mean,
This
this
is
is the
Hamas.
exact same question. Yeah, this is the same question that we asked on our show this morning, because it's actually kind of terrifying to see the number of people that are out on the streets and on college campuses protesting on behalf of this idea of freeing Palestine. But no one is ever saying free Palestine from Hamas.
Yes.
Because if they were, I would actually be happy to join them in the streets. But the fact that they're out there and they're protesting against Israel is just mind-numbingly stupid, and it shows how lost and broken our entire education system is.
Well, Mock, these are the same college kids. These are the same college kids that are organizing Gays for Hamas. They want a pride rally in Palestine. I'm like, who wants to tell these morons?
I know, right? I mean, they're just so lost and so uninformed, and so many of them, you can just, I've seen some, those man on the street kind of interviews where they're trying to talk to these people, and they have absolutely no idea why they're there. They don't know anything about the history. They're just there because they're absolute sheep. And it's just super unfortunate that there's so many. I mean, you probably saw Grand Central Station get completely overrun with all of their matching T-shirts, which makes you wonder, like, who's funding these morons? And then the same was true, like the Brooklyn Bridge got shut down over the weekend. Like London, the streets of London are absolutely full of these maniacs.
That was the London thing. The London thing was, tens of thousands of people. That was pretty terrifying.
Right? And people should look at that and really be fearful. And then you saw what happened at the Russian airport, right? Like there was legit psycho Muslims who were Jew hunting at the airport. It was so surreal to think that this is happening today. It's like, did we learn nothing?
And the New York Times has a story, and I think you guys shared this as well, that Hamas has stored up in all their tunnels that they've got underground 3 to 4 months worth of fighting materials, ammo, rockets, explosives, water, food, medicine.
Fuel. Yeah.
Once this ground invasion starts from Israel, will the Palestinian people have those same luxuries? Because an awful lot of money is coming in to Palestine. I have a hard time believing that the Palestinian people are going to have this same level of supplies ready.
Of course they won't, because if they were going to, they would have over these past 10 years that Hamas, or probably longer, that Hamas has been building their underground network of tunnels and being able to hide supplies, hide hostages, hide themselves, frankly. And so that's again, it goes back to what are these protesters actually asking about? Because Israel has not been in Palestine since like 2007, or even earlier than that. So if they want to talk about who's occupying them, who's occupying all of their necessary supplies, it's Hamas. And to think about where they're located and what an absolutely, like, they're so missing out on an opportunity to have a lively, vibrant, on the beach location.
Yeah.
They could have a completely thriving country, and they won't, because they're led by hate, their hate is the only thing that is driving them. Nothing else drives them. It's just hate for Israel.
From the river to the sea, Palestine must be free, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
That means Israeli genocide is what that saying means, because from the river to the sea, well, what's in between there? Israel.
Exactly. And so you ask Israel, is this a fight over land? And Israel's like, we don't want this place.
Yeah, no,
we're just trying to. The reason for the blockade is to keep them out, their terrorists out of Israel, from doing the kind of carnage that we saw on October 7th. And so people that are complaining about an Israeli blockade don't realize that the Hamas rockets are still firing off constantly. They're still attacking Israel even today. So it's not like Israel came after or wanted this war in any way. They are simply defending their own people.
One half of the Chicks on the Right mock. Check out their work, chicksontheright.com. On social media, look for the Chicks on the Right. Mock Arena, you are the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So, Nigel, I'm on the liquid diet today.
Oh, yeah.
As I prepare for butt stuff tomorrow.
Sure.
You know what still falls in the category of liquid? Moonshine.
Oh, it's Moonshine Monday, isn't it? Forgot about that.
Moonshine Monday, next on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
When you hear the name Jefferson Shreve, what do you think of? A candidate for mayor? Sure, he's that. But he's also an original supporter of Donald Trump. Jefferson Shreve has been with Trump from the very beginning, even despite Trump lying over 30,000 times, being accused of sexually assaulting 21 women. And Jefferson Shreve never condemned January 6th. Shreve even donated thousands of dollars to Trump's election deniers. It's bad enough that Jefferson Shreve got an A rating from the NRA and wants to ban abortion. But Jefferson Shreve and Donald Trump? That's a combination that's bad for Indianapolis.
This is Joe Hogshead, and I'm asking for your vote so we can continue hiring more police, get guns off the street, and invest in programs that keep kids out of trouble. We've overcome a lot in these last few years. I'm grateful for your support so we can get the job done.
Paid for by Hogshead for Indianapolis.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100% feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160 in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. 463-235-7160.
Hi, my name is Deb Whitfield, and I currently serve as a member of the Lawrence Common Council. I'm here to tell you a little bit about my friend, Maggie A. Lewis. Since being elected, Leader Lewis has introduced laws that are improving the quality of life for my family and yours. From adding more police officers to protect our families, prioritizing road improvements and infrastructure, to preparing our children for long-term success, Leader Lewis has been making a difference in our community. That's why on Election Day, November 7th, make sure you re-elect Majority Leader Maggie A. Lewis to the Indianapolis City County Council. We need leaders who can get the job done, and Maggie has a proven track record. She is a leader who is prepared, experienced, dedicated, and a friend in our community.
Hi, I'm Maggie Lewis. Your vote does make a difference. Paid for and authorized by Maggie Lewis Campaign. Peter O'Coffer, Treasurer.
That kitchen or bath remodel you've been ready to start? With inflation rising, waiting is just going to make it more expensive. Start that remodel today. Hey, it's Tony Katz for Booher Remodeling. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. Get on the schedule now to avoid some of those price increases. Booher Remodeling is the finest remodeler in central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Go to BooherRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation. BooherRemodeling.com.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving. Start stocking for the holidays today with Family Dollar. Shop great deals on seasonal decor, baking essentials, and more. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baer Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Matt Baer has a look at the roads.
Yeah, Hammer looking at southbound 65 stop and go MLK to Meridian Bend. Delay continues as you head east On eastbound 70, slow from the north split out to Sherman Drive, a little bit beyond. Traffic is sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's Design Centers at 146th Street and River Road on North Shadeland. Online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for the traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Freeze warning in effect 10 p.m. tonight to 10 a.m. tomorrow. Right now, 45 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
And it takes me back to a simpler place.
Moonshine Mondays here on the Hammer and Nigel show. Hammer mentioned you were on the all-liquid diet, getting ready to do the old colonoscopy.
Butt stuff.
Oh, boy, I'm telling you. And Rob, I heard you talking to Rob Kendall earlier this morning. The prep is the worst. You'll be fine when you wake up tomorrow, if you wake up tomorrow.
11 o'clock is my appointment tomorrow.
Okay, but you are on the all-liquid diet. That means you can participate here in Moonshine Mondays.
Right. And we've kind of reached the end of the box here, Nige. So a listener dropped us off like a huge box of different moonshines.
14. Like 14 jars, mason jars.
From Sugarland Shines, based out of Tennessee, down by Gatlinburg.
You've been there.
And this is the last jar left in the big case. What do we got here?
Appalachian apple pie.
Appalachian apple pie. Traditional kind of flavor that these companies make. So cheers, everybody. Hopefully nothing weird in my butt tomorrow.
Oh, there's going to be weird stuff in your butt. You'll see it. Woo!
Good.
Delicio.
Yes, sir. So, you and Spanglish, you guys are driving the boat tomorrow.
Yeah, Jerry Lopez will be doing a Halloween edition of the Hammer and Nigel show. It'll be fun. And coming up next, more on crime in Indy. And yes, Magic Mike Pence dropping out of the GOP race for that nomination. We'll be back. It's the Hammer and Nigel show. You're a homeowner. I'm a homeowner. I think I'm grateful and fortunate to own your own home, but man, you got to stay focused on the things that are important. The last thing you want to worry about is your furnace going out. That's why I'm an American Standard customer. If you need American Standard service, make sure and listen to Hammer.
How about Family Heating and Air, the Morris family and their staff, ready to help you out this fall? You could call Rachel, Marcus, or Malia today to make sure that your furnace is safe and ready to roll for when the nasty weather arrives. Family Heating and Air always encourages you to call them for a free second opinion if you've already got a quote from another heating and air company. If something doesn't look right, feels a little squirrely, call Family. They'll give you a second opinion. Nobody cares for you like Family. Call them today, 317-577-8077. Family Heating and Air, 577-8077. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
Who can Carmel trust to keep our city thriving? Sue Finkham is the only one with the plan and experience to do it. Finkham has spent her career growing businesses and advocating for people, and her